Hi, everyone. In this video, we continue our replay of the 2022 Waukesha Parade Attack Trial, Wisconsin versus Darrell Brooks. In our last video, we focused on the hunt and takedown of Brooks, and now in this video, it will be his first several hours in custody. We start with Officer Leija on the stand, who transported Brooks from where he was apprehended on Elizabeth Street to booking. Although there is no video of his time at the hospital, we do have some audio from Brooks being interviewed at the hospital. I will play that at the end of our trial portion today. After Leija, the state calls Detective Jay Carpenter. He and his partner Stern were the ones to give the initial interview with Brooks. But before all of that, Darrell Brooks wants to argue with the court about his witnesses that will be called later in the week. So let me just back up a moment here. See, since Brooks was in custody and, let's face it, has no clue, the DA's office volunteered to assist with serving his subpoenas and scheduling his witnesses for trial. Instead of being gracious about the assistance from the DA's office, Brooks wants to cause delay and disruption about the entire process. So let's get to it.
Thank you. Be seated. Before we bring the jury back out, if we could just maybe talk scheduling for a moment. We are back on the record, and the audio's on, so that's good. Attorney Opper, where are you at for today? I presume you have probably another witness or so.
Yes, we were just discussing that as well, Your Honor. I have one more witness whom I believe will be shorter in duration, and then we would be prepared to start with another witness who is lengthier, probably about an hour for direct examination. I'm sorry, probably about 4 hours because of the recorded interviews that need to be displayed to the jury. So we could either start that witness this afternoon and get some of it done and finish with him in the morning, or just start fresh with him in the morning.
And then do we have the interpreter coming tomorrow?
Yes, and we have that interruption or pause in our case scheduled. I'm told the interpreter will be ready, or available anytime between 9:30 and noon. So maybe around the time of the mid-morning break, we would pause what we're doing in the state's case and turn to the defense witness.
All right.
And then, Your Honor, truthfully, at this point, we are probably on track to rest sometime on Wednesday. We've done good today. We're on schedule for today, but especially if we have to interrupt with that defense witness tomorrow, we don't think we'll be able to finish until sometime on Wednesday.
Okay, understood. And have you been in contact with the witnesses that were subpoenaed by Mr. Brooks to let them know about when they will be needed?
Yes, and we will need further direction on that from Mr. Brooks as far as what order he would like them in and when he wants them here. And again, depending on how this shakes out, I think probably about this time tomorrow we'll be in better shape to know if we would perhaps get to defense witnesses Wednesday afternoon, or just start Thursday morning with defense witnesses. If he lets us know the order he wants them in, we can start making those arrangements on his behalf. But right now, they all know that they're essentially on call for more towards the end of the week.
All right. And if my memory serves, the witness who would be called out of order, is that Juan Marquez?
Yes.
All right. So you should probably be ready to have that person, because that's when we have the interpreter available, tomorrow sometime. I presume you still want to call that witness?
Yeah.
All right. And so just be prepared to do your direct when we can fit it in at the appropriate break, and depending on where we end with witnesses tonight. And then if you would let the state know the order of your witnesses, so we can have them come at different times so that they're not all here for days waiting to be called.
With all respect, the prosecution didn't tell me the order of their witnesses. Why do I have to tell them the order of mine?
because they're assisting you in getting them to court. They've served the subpoenas on your behalf, and as a courtesy to those witnesses, I need you to provide, I don't even care if it's the order, but if you say these 3 will be called in the morning, these 3 will be in the afternoon, that would be okay with me. I just want to be able to tell those witnesses through the DA, you 3 will be Wednesday afternoon, you 3 will be, whatever the number is, will be Thursday morning, and the rest Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, whatever it may be.
I get what you're saying, but it's still, from what I'm hearing from the prosecution, they're not sure exactly when they'll be resting their case. So
I think they're trying to rest their case sooner rather than later, but they have some witnesses to get through, and what they're telling us is that that will be sometime on Wednesday, given the pause that they will take in their case to call Mr. Marquez so that he can be questioned by you with the interpreter.
So wouldn't it make more sense to start calling my witnesses Thursday then?
No, you should be ready to go Wednesday afternoon. I'm not going to take a break for that. You should be ready to go. I mean, if we get done at 4 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, that might be a different story, but it sounds like we should be able to call witnesses. Of course, you will need to let me know if you're going to give an opening statement. You had deferred that, and that could adjust some of the timing. But so I need you to provide that order to the state tomorrow when you come into court, so that they can work with those witnesses
I'll probably
better.
say I'm not going to provide a specific order. I'm not going to do that.
Well, then you need to tell which day, like morning and afternoon, and how many witnesses per. I'm not going to just bring them in all at the same time and make them wait. That's not, that would be a discourtesy to those witnesses who you are calling. So I want to have some idea of what your game plan is for them.
I get that, but I'm still confused on. I essentially didn't know who they was calling in order.
That's not really relevant at this moment, sir. So I need you to provide the order.
I'm not going to provide the order.
Or by start Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, Friday afternoon, unless they're very short. Just keep in mind, we generally have about, when we start at 8:30, we go till about noon. Probably start up an hour and 15 minutes after the lunch, so you have another couple of hours. So you should be able to know about how long you're going to question them, and just give us who those are for each of those blocks. And then be ready for Mr. Marquez tomorrow.
I'll be ready for that, but
All right.
I'll probably have an idea of who I think should come in, but I'm not going to provide an order.
Well, if he wants our assistance, Your Honor, we will do that. Otherwise, he can be responsible for getting these witnesses here himself.
Get him, Sue.
You've got to cooperate with this process, or they're assisting you. Otherwise, you're going to be responsible for telling these witnesses when to come in.
And so how am I supposed to do that?
Well, then you should cooperate with the state and their assistance to help you, sir.
I'm not going to give a specific order.
Sir, are you willing to provide the who the witnesses are by half day?
I just said that.
All right, then that's what I need by tomorrow morning.
I said I'm not giving an order, is
That's
what
fine.
I said.
I'm okay with that, and the state will be okay with that because I said they'll be okay with that. So,
We're okay, Judge. Thank you.
all right, thank you.
So what about what's supposed to be going on today? How late do we plan to go today?
We'll have to see how long this witness lasts and if we can start the next witness. I 4:30, 5 o'clock, maybe even 5:30. We'll see. So with that, let's bring the jury out.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction at some point?
Not beyond what I've already addressed, sir.
Which you addressed it, you didn't prove it, you didn't verify it. It's not verified proof that you have subject matter jurisdiction yet. It's not been proven on the record.
This will not be the last time Brooks puts up a fuss about his witnesses being called. It gets really heated after the state rests.
Is that a judicial determination, Your Honor, that you're not going to answer that?
Your request is noted for the record. I've already addressed it.
Is it noted for the record? It should be noted for the record. Also, that's a tacit agreement.
All rise for the jury, please. Thank you.
We already been rising. Wondering when we go get the answer to that subject matter jurisdiction, though.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Attorney Opper, you may call your next witness.
Thank you. The state calls Officer Leija.
Good afternoon, Officer Leija. If you would please make your way to my witness stand. When you get there, please remain standing, raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. And I should say the witness stand. I don't have ownership over it. But in any event, state your first and last names for the record.
First name Draelon, last name Leija.
Could you spell both?
Draelon, last name Leija, Leija.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
All right. Thank you, Officer Leija. Sir, I'd like to direct your attention to the evening of November 21, 2021. Were you working on duty that afternoon?
Yes.
All right. I should ask, where do you work?
City of Waukesha Police Department.
How long have you been a police officer?
A little over 2 years.
Okay. So on that evening, were you aware that the parade was taking place in downtown Waukesha?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you work the parade?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall what time it was when you came on duty, sir?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
I believe it was a little after 5.
Were you scheduled to work that evening?
Yes.
Okay. And around the time of 12 a.m. midnight, so now I think we're getting into the next day of November 22 of 2021, were you asked to assist detectives at Waukesha Memorial Hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to that location?
I did.
And did you meet with anybody there?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Who did you meet with?
I met with Detective Jay Carpenter and acting detective at the time, Detective Stern.
Did they ask you to assist them in some fashion?
Yes, ma'am.
What did they ask you to do?
I was tasked.
Leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
I was tasked with transporting Mr. Brooks to the Muskego Police Department.
Okay. So at this point, Mr. Brooks is in custody.
Yes, ma'am.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And the person you were asked to drive to the Muskego Police Department, do you see him in this courtroom here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you identify him, please? And if Mr. Brooks would please remove his mask, Your Honor?
Objection. I don't consent to
Sir, please
being
remove
called
your
that
mask.
name.
Oh, thank you. You were.
For the 100th time.
Go ahead.
It's the black male sitting at the table with a black suit and the mask that he just put back on.
Where did you first meet?
Oh, hold on. The record should reflect he did point to the defense table, and the record will reflect he identified him. Go ahead.
Okay. Where did you first meet Mr. Brooks?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
The Waukesha Memorial Hospital, the police hold room.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Mr. Brooks was talking over you.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. Go ahead, sir.
At the Waukesha Memorial Hospital in the police hold room.
All right. And where were you going to take him?
To the Muskego Police Department.
Why?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Detective Carpenter said that he was going to be there so that he can question him sometime in the near future.
Is the Muskego Police Department located in the city of Waukesha?
No,
Objection,
ma'am.
relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
No, ma'am.
Why didn't you take him back to your police department?
Objection.
Overruled. You may answer.
At the time, we were at the annex, which is our older police department. police department that we usually report out of was being renovated, so we didn't have any holding cell.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did the Muskego Police Department have a holding cell at their facility?
Objections.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, ma'am.
And they were willing to house Mr. Brooks there under mutual aid?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that night.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So you put him in your squad car?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Tell us about that, your drive.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
So I put Mr. Brooks in my squad car. We left the hospital I took custody of him around 12:18 a.m. We typed in my GPS to the Muskego Police Department. We left the hospital. We had to go eastbound in Wisconsin, which is a road that's parallel to Main Street where the parade was taking place.
Okay.
Once we passed while going eastbound in Wisconsin, there was multiple marked squad cars, so they're with their emergency lights on.
Do you know what they were doing?
Relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
They were blocking traffic, investigating an incident that transpired earlier that evening.
Okay. Is it just, excuse me, is it just you and Mr. Brooks in the squad car?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, it was just me and Darrell Brooks in the squad car.
Okay.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled.
And as you traveled in the area of Wisconsin Avenue, did Mr. Brooks make any statements?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Yes, Mr. Brooks said once we were going eastbound in Wisconsin, and I quote, he said, damn, it looks like they were dealing with something heavy.
Okay. Did you reply to him in any way?
No.
Did he continue to speak?
Yes, ma'am.
What else did he say?
He asked me if there was a basketball game going on or something tonight, and to which I replied, I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you continue on transporting him to the Muskego Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point, were you responsible for watching over him at the Muskego Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. Your answer may stand. Go ahead and just wait until I rule on the objections,
I'm sorry.
please. That's okay.
How long did you watch him for?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
I believe we got to the jail around closer to 1 a.m. I watched him up until about 7 a.m.
What kinds of things do you remember he did overnight?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
I know that he was fed around 2 a.m. He slept most of the night. He got up around 5 a.m., asked for water. I got him water. And he asked to make a phone call to his daughter.
Okay. Did you allow that?
No.
Did you said it appeared he was sleeping throughout most of the night?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled. Did
At
you
any-
answer?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
All right. Other than asking to call his daughter, did he make any other statements to you that you can recall?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
I remember he made some complaints that the room was too bright. He wanted me to dim the room. Yeah, that's all that I remember he
Okay.
saying.
Like the lights in the room were too bright?
Correct, in the cell, holding cell.
Did you turn off the lights for him?
No.
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
And were you relieved by another officer then later that morning?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions.
Hey, Cross.
Yep.
That's a yes?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You said that you recall checking every 30 minutes on doing like well-being checks, right?
That's correct.
And how do you know for sure that the suspect was asleep?
I don't know for sure if you were sleeping. I know that the cover was over your head, and every time I go and check in on you, I could see that your chest was rising up and down from underneath the blanket. So It's a possibility that you were sleeping. It's a possibility that you weren't. I know that you're undercover, so it appeared that you were asleep most of the night.
So it'd be fair to say you're not sure.
Answer stands, Your Honor. It's asked and answered.
Objection.
Overruled. He may answer.
Could have been sleep. You probably was asleep. You probably wasn't. But the blanket was over your head most of the night.
And do you recall why the suspect was not allowed a phone call?
I was told that you had to wait for Detective Jay Carpenter to talk to you.
Do you know if that's standard practice?
Not sure if it's standard practice or not, but just following his instruction, because he was going to be doing some investigation.
Would you say it's fair to say that usually the suspect being detained is allowed a phone call at some point?
Relevance.
Grounds.
Relevant, sir?
Grounds.
No. Why do you believe it's relevant?
Why would contact to the outside world be restricted?
All right, I'll rule that it's not relevant. Sustain the objection. Next question.
Do you recall what time you got to, I think it was you said, the hospital to pick up the suspect?
Yes, I left at 12:10. I got to the hospital around 12:18.
To the best of your recollection, do you recall being given any information at that time about the suspect being questioned?
I don't recall if I was given any information on you being questioned at that time.
And you referred to a police hold room inside of the hospital?
That's correct.
So it's not unusual for someone to be detained in the police hold room inside of the hospital?
That's correct. There's an active investigation going on.
So would that be the only time during an active investigation?
Usually, someone from the outside coming into the police hold room, yes, for an active investigation.
And do you recall where in the hospital this police hold room is located?
In the hospital.
Do you recall where in the hospital it's located?
It's usually by where the police officers park their vehicles through the ambulance bay, straight ahead, and it's the second to last door on the right.
To the best of your knowledge, do you know if those police hold rooms have cameras?
I'm not sure.
Before that particular incident, had you ever been in the police hold room in that hospital?
Yep. Yes, sorry.
And you stated that detectives informed you that they would need to speak with the detainee before any phone calls would be made.
That's correct.
To the best of your recollection, did they explain why to you?
Objection, relevance.
Grounds.
Calls for speculation.
Grounds.
I'm sorry, calls for hearsay
Grounds.
and speculation.
Are you offering it for the truth of the matter,
Yep.
sort of? Then it's hearsay and it's.
And the detainee was turned over to an Officer Paulson after, I'm guessing at the end of your shift.
That's correct.
Do you recall if the cell the detainee was sleeping in that night had cameras?
I'm not sure.
Do you recall who did the booking process at the Muskego Police Department?
Yes, I believe it was Lieutenant Andrika and Officer Klink of the Muskego Police Department.
To the best of your recollection, do you recall why one of those officers weren't doing the well-being checks?
Because you were in our custody.
Do you recall when you did your report? The date of it?
I don't recall the exact day I did my report.
Was it that same evening or was it sometime after?
When you say the same evening, what date are you talking about?
The same evening or morning that you ended up having to do the well-being checks at the Muskego Police Department.
I don't recall if I did it that day, but it most definitely was done shortly after.
Shortly after, meaning a few days or a week or so?
A few days.
You don't recall if it was the 29th of November of 2021?
I don't recall.
When you were dispatched to the Waukesha Memorial Hospital, did you observe any FBI agents at the scene?
At the scene of the hospital?
Yes.
No.
So to the best of your recollection, it was only the 2 detectives that you made contact with?
Yes.
Can you explain what the mobile audio video recording system is?
It's an in-squad camera that records outside of the squad car, so like in front of the squad car in the prisoner compartment. And it's a microphone that we put to our vest or on our person to record audio statements.
So it records and it's video and audio.
Correct.
Did it record the detainee during your transport?
Yes, it did.
I wish we had that audio, but it was redacted from the public.
Besides the statements that you made reference to, did you observe or hear anything other than those statements?
What do you mean? Can you clarify it for me?
Did you observe anything strange or while the recording was taking place?
I don't know what you mean by strange.
Like, did you notice any strange movements by the detainee? Anything that would alarm you in any way?
Nothing that would alarm me, no.
Did you know the extent of the investigation at the time you were dispatched to Waukesha Memorial?
No, my only task was to transport you to the Muskego Police Department.
No further questions.
Any redirect?
Nothing else. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. You may step down. Go ahead and call your next witness then, please.
Detective Jay Carpenter.
Thanks, Dre. Good afternoon, Detective Carpenter. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is to my right. It is up one riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. The first thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
Sure. My name is Detective Jay Carpenter. First name spelled Jay, last name spelled Carpenter.
Go ahead.
Sir, how are you employed?
I am employed as a detective with the City of Waukesha Police Department.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
18 years?
Have all those years been with the City of Waukesha Police Department?
Yes.
How long have you been detective?
Almost 5 years.
Direct your attention to November 21st of last year. Were you working on that day?
Yes, I was.
Were you working the parade?
I had actually been part of the parade. I marched in the parade as part of our Honor Guard unit and had completed my duty before the incident commenced.
So this is the City of Waukesha annual holiday parade.
Correct.
Okay. And you say that after you finished the parade route, where did you go?
So I went back to the City of Waukesha Police Department after I completed my part of the parade.
And did you receive information while you were at the City of Waukesha Police Department regarding something that had happened at the parade?
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
I did. I changed out of my Honor Guard uniform, and I was confronted by Officer Daniel Malo. He was working as a desk officer for the department that day. Officer Malo explained that a vehicle had driven through the parade route down in downtown Waukesha, that there were approximately 30 to 40 people down, many severely injured, some possibly deceased, and that there was also an officer-involved shooting involved in the whole event.
What did you do as a result of receiving that information?
At that point, I went on duty and began heading towards the downtown area.
Where did you go specifically?
So when I headed out, there was a lot of radio traffic. It was very chaotic, very confusing. It was certainly like nothing I've ever experienced before, as far as the radio traffic. The event kind of began to mold into two different forms at that point, in that there were numerous officers calling for ambulances in the downtown area for the injured, but dispatch was also beginning to provide information that there was an individual in the area of the 500 block of Elizabeth Street, which is about a quarter of a mile off the parade route, that was loitering, and it was believed that may be the suspect, so I headed in that direction.
Now, prior to heading in that direction, did you have any information as to why this person in that area would be a suspect?
Objection leading.
Overruled. He may answer.
Yes, ma'am. A description had been provided of a possible suspect, and the descriptions being provided by the dispatch of the individual now in this area were comparable, nearly identical to the descriptions I was hearing of the driver from the parade incident.
What did you do then?
As I was searching the area, I heard over the police radio that officers from a separate jurisdiction had come in contact with the suspect and that he was in custody. I proceeded over to Elizabeth Street, where the suspect, who was identified in the investigation as Darrell Brooks, was already in custody.
Okay. Now, you stated that the information that you initially received with regard to the person involved's physical description, do you recall what that was?
Objection leading.
Overruled. He may answer.
Information that I heard over police radio was an African-American male, blue jeans, and a red T-shirt.
So what did you do after receiving this information about a potential person in custody?
I responded to the immediate area. Mr. Brooks at that point was already in custody. I don't recall if he was outside a squad being searched, but he was handcuffed. and already effectively in custody at that point. He was placed in the rear of a city Waukesha police car, where he was taken into custody for loitering as well as being a suspect at that point as the operator of the vehicle that went through the parade route.
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name for the record.
Overruled. Your answer stands. Go ahead. Next question.
At the time that you made contact with this individual, did you have any information about the vehicle that had been used during the parade?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Yes, a red SUV that was actually a red Ford Escape specifically.
And did you have any information if that car had been located at the time that you went to the Elizabeth Street address?
Yes, it had already been located.
Did you have any information about that red SUV prior to going to Elizabeth Street?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
The information I recall having is that the vehicle was parked over on Maple Avenue, which is about 2.5 to 3 blocks west of Elizabeth Street, where Mr. Brooks was located and taken into custody.
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled.
Did you have the opportunity to speak with an individual who was identified as Darrell Brooks
Objection,
at that Elizabeth Street address?
Called that name.
Go ahead. You may answer.
I don't believe I spoke with him at that address, but Mr. Brooks was transported to our substation located on Les Paul Parkway in the city of Waukesha, where I had opportunity to speak with him.
Did you see him at the Elizabeth Street address?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you see him in the court today?
I do.
I'd ask the court to ask Mr. Brooks to remove his mask.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Can you identify him by where he's seated and what he's wearing?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Brooks is seated to my left, wearing a dark-colored suit jacket, multicolored tie, surgical mask on his face, shaved head, and he did have a beard at the time he took his mask off.
Let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
It will reflect. Thank you.
Sir, as you see Mr. Brooks today, does he look different than he did on November 21st of last year?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, ma'am.
How?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
At the time of the incident, Mr. Brooks had longer hair, a braided style hair that probably went midway down his back.
How about facial-wise?
He had a beard at that time, but it's a little bit shorter now. It was a little bit thicker and longer at the time.
So you stated that the defendant was transported to a substation?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. And do you recall who transported him?
Specialist Mark Howard.
Did you follow Specialist Howard to the substation?
Yes, I did.
Upon either, should I say, at the scene, did you obtain items that were located on the defendant's person?
Yes, I did.
What did they consist of?
So the items I received that were on Mr. Brooks' person at the time of his arrest, there were several items. One of them was a Wisconsin photo identification card. So it had a picture on the ID card that I recognized as being Mr. Brooks based on the fact I was with him at this time. The name on that identification card was Darrell Edward Brooks Jr., his date of birth being February 21st, 1982. There was also a green Wisconsin Quest card with Mr. Brooks' name on it, a silver American Express debit or credit card with Mr. Brooks' name on it, 2 Visa debit cards, one black, one white, both which had Mr. Brooks' name on it, and then there was a Georgia EBT card which had the name of Mr. Brooks' girlfriend on it.
Other than the identifying information that you just testified to, is anything else turned over to you that was removed from Darrell Brooks?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name and it's leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, ma'am. There was $4 cash, but also a Ford ignition key.
Now, you stated that there was a suspect vehicle that had been located.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any information prior to your discussions with the defendant about who the owner of that vehicle was?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, I did.
And who was the owner of that vehicle?
A female by the name of Dawn Woods.
And do you recall what her address was?
Objection.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
4014 North 19th Street in the city of Milwaukee.
So 19th Street, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection. Leading witness.
Overruled. The answer may stand.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 172. That's going to appear on the screen in front of you. Before we do that, these identifiers that you located for Darrell Brooks, did you take a picture of it?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't consent to being called that name for the 100th time.
Overruled.
And let me know when you see something in your...
I see it.
Okay. Do you recognize these items as those items you just described as having been removed from the defendant's person?
Yes, I do.
I'd ask the court to admit this exhibit into evidence and to publish it for the jury.
Objection. Relevancy.
Objection is overruled. Exhibit 172 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
If you can specifically zoom in on the Wisconsin ID card. The address on that Wisconsin identification card, is that the same address that you recited for Dawn Woods?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
He was in Suite B at that address, also known as a tent in the backyard.
And what was the date that that card was issued?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
June 14th, 2021.
And the picture on the identification card, would that be consistent or inconsistent with what the defendant looked like on November 21st of last year?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
It's almost exactly what he looks like.
Now, as you were at the substation, what did you do that can be removed? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
For the most part, what we were doing down there is obtaining basic booking information. So I confirmed Mr. Brooks' first name, middle name, last name, date of birth. I obtained an emergency contact for him, phone numbers, whether he was working or not, going to school. Obtained information about his tattoos, piercings, things of that nature. Personal identification information.
Okay. And who did he say his emergency contact was?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
Mr. Brooks indicated his emergency contact person was Dawn Woods.
And what relationship was Dawn Woods to him?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
It is Mr. Brooks' mother.
And did you subsequently obtain a phone number for Dawn Woods?
I did.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
What is that phone number, if you recall?
Objection. Relevancy.
414-610-2153.
Now, when you asked the defendant for his name, what did he tell you his name was?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
I believe he indicated it was Darrell, Darrell, which, in speaking with him, and I can confirm seeing him today, Darrell Brooks or Darrell Brooks are one and the same. They are the same person.
Did you become aware of any video evidence that was collected in the downtown area during the parade capturing a picture of the person who drove the red SUV through the parade?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And you said you saw that?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to ask that Exhibit 120, which has been previously admitted into evidence, be published for the jury.
Go ahead.
Is that the photographic evidence that you had just testified to?
Objection.
Overruled.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And do you recall approximately, was this the car being driven while the parade, in the midst of the parade, after the parade, or before the parade, if you know.
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
So the photo we're looking at right here is right in the middle of the parade. So right now, the vehicle is within the parade route while the parade is ongoing.
And were you able to positively identify the driver of that vehicle?
Yes, ma'am,
Objection.
I was.
Hearsay.
Overruled.
Who is the driver of that vehicle?
The driver of the vehicle is Darrell Brooks.
Thank you. Approximately how long?
Are you done with this exhibit? I'm sorry.
I am, yes.
Thank you.
How long were you at the substation?
Probably about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Why were you there versus anywhere else?
So at this particular time, the department was in a transition. Our original building was under construction. The building we were primarily working out of did not have a booking room, did not have a place to take prisoners, so we had to go down to the substation instead of our own actual police department.
Other than collecting the information that you had previously told us about, including emergency contact information, name, things like that, what else were you doing at the substation?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Mainly at that time, just waiting for further information as to what was going to be done next. Like I say, the scene was very, very chaotic. I know there were so many victims out there, they didn't even have enough ambulances to transport them all. So officers, it took, I feel like, probably hours to really get it under control. So I was just waiting on more information from Detective Casey, who had been assigned as lead to determine what steps would be appropriate next. Is just being there with Mr. Brooks and making sure he was safe and remained in custody. I didn't have a real good idea due to the chaos of what was going on away from where I was.
Now, you had testified about some of the property that was recovered from the defendant, and you stated that one of the items was a card in the name of Erica Patterson. Do you recall that?
Objection. He did not say who was in the name of.
Sustained. Please rephrase.
Actually, if we can pull up Exhibit 172 again.
Objection. Hearsay.
There's no question yet, but.
And if you can zoom in on the Georgia EBT card. Whose name is on that card?
Erica
Objection.
Patterson.
Leading.
Overruled. Go ahead, you can answer that again.
Erica Patterson.
Did you, at the time that you were at the substation, have any information regarding an Erica Patterson and her relationship to Darrell Brooks?
Objection. That I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Objection is hearsay.
Overruled.
Not at that time, no.
Did you later learn of a relationship between the defendant and Erica Patterson?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, I did.
And what was that relationship?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Ms. Patterson was a significant other or girlfriend to Mr. Brooks and mother of one of his children.
Objection. Not girlfriend.
Overruled. The jury will disregard that last statement as Mr. Brooks is not testifying at the moment.
Well, keep it true.
Now, when you made contact with Darrell Brooks or while you're making contact with Darrell Brooks at the substation, did he complain of any injuries?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name. I
Overruled.
think
You
the
may answer.
prosecution is trying to be funny at this point.
Yes, ma'am, he did.
Hold on. I didn't hear the last thing, but I believe it was commentary. So just state your objection and I'll rule on it. It's been overruled. You may answer.
Yes, ma'am, he did. He complained of 2 injuries, one to his knee, but primarily and mostly of an injury to what was his right shoulder.
Did he say how that occurred?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, he did. Mr. Brooks told us that his shoulder was injured when he was arrested, indicating the arresting officers slammed him to the ground.
Did you have the opportunity at any point in this investigation to review body camera footage from Officer Rebecca Carpenter?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was at the residence where the defendant was taken into custody?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Did you see any unlawful use of force on the defendant during that time?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
No, ma'am. In fact, there was no force used at all. Mr. Brooks was given verbal directions by officers to get down onto the ground, and he did so entirely on his own power.
Based upon his complaints, however, was the decision made to transport him for medical clearance?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you transport the defendant?
Waukesha Memorial Hospital.
Do you know approximately what time you arrived there?
I don't remember the exact time. It was sometime, I believe it was between about 8 and 9 p.m.
Upon entering, who was with you and Mr. Brooks?
Objection. I don't consent to being called a name as leading the witness.
Overruled as to both. You may answer.
Detective Ben Stern.
Okay. Was he partnering with you in this part of the investigation?
Yes, ma'am, he was.
Okay. And when you entered the hospital, what observations, if any, did you make?
Entering the hospital, we escorted Mr. Brooks, to a room so that he could receive medical clearance. I know there were some individuals from the parade that were injured in nearby rooms. I didn't really see many of them, but I knew they were close by. So we escorted Mr. Brooks into a room, trying to keep away from the victims so as to not make the incident any more tension-filled than it already was.
How busy was it at the hospital when you brought Mr. Brooks in?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Extremely. There were victims due to the mass amount of casualties, many of which, survived but still needed extensive medical attention. It was very busy. Many of the victims were taken to alternate hospitals because Waukesha Memorial could not handle the amount of patients that were coming in.
Now, approximately how long did you spend with Mr. Brooks at Waukesha Memorial Hospital?
Objection. I don't consent to being called a name.
Overruled.
Probably about 4 hours.
Is that in addition to the time that you would have spent with him at the substation?
Yes, ma'am.
Leading.
Overruled.
What was his demeanor?
Extremely calm. I would describe it, I guess, to put it in context for the court, very similar to mine right now. The conversations I had with him, as far as getting his identification info and such, he talked to me as calmly as I'm speaking now. Based on his body language, his tone of voice, his attitude, you'd have never known he had done something or was in custody for having done something so serious.
Did he ask you why he was in custody at the substation?
Yes.
And what did you tell him?
At that point, I simply told Mr. Brooks it was a loitering investigation and possible disorderly conduct.
Now, you just testified that he was a suspect in the parade mass casualty incident. Why didn't you tell him that?
At that time, I didn't want to make Mr. Brooks, one, overly anxious. Two, there was a lot of information. Initially, I still didn't know. It was initially, as part of the chaos, I believe at one point we were actually looking for as many as four people. So I didn't know how deeply he was or was not involved. It was believed that and known that he was somehow involved and knew something. So before I even addressed those issues, one, I wanted to make sure I knew all the facts and had as much information as I could, more than anything for the integrity of the case.
When you talk about the integrity of the case and your discussions with him, Did the defendant appear to know what was going on around him? When I say that, I guess, was he aware of where he was, who you were, things like that?
Objection, speculative.
As to the way it was rephrased in the second half of that, I will allow it. You may answer.
Yes, he did. He seemed, he was alert. When asked questions, like, for example, about phone number, his emergency contact, the answers were consistent with the question asked. He did not have slurred speech. He did not show any signs of being under the influence or in mental crisis.
Did your opinion change at any time while you were with him on November 21st?
Objection, vague.
Overruled. You may answer.
No, it did not.
Now, during the 4 hours that you were at the hospital, were you, did he continue to complain about shoulder pain?
Yes, he did.
Were his actions always consistent with his expression of the pain in the shoulder?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled. You may answer.
No, they were not.
Can you describe for the jury what you mean by that?
Objection, speculative. How can he know how somebody's body is feeling?
Overruled. He may answer, given as long as he answers with his understanding. Or what
Observations is what I was saying.
Observation.
Yes.
Thank you. I think that's what you said. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So Mr. Brooks, when he would speak to me throughout the evening, he would move his arms about, he'd put them out to his side, he'd move them back and forth, he'd raise them up and down. He was talking about being in severe pain, but I would describe the way he'd move his arms and such as basic body mannerisms and basic interpersonal interactions. His hands, his arms, everything moved completely normally when we would speak. There was no favoring of that shoulder or anything to indicate, other than what he was saying through physical action, that there was any type of injury there that I observed.
Now, at some point, I strike that. During this time that you were with him and he was getting medically cleared, first of all, did he get medically cleared?
Yes, he did.
Objection, speculative.
He didn't need to be...
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
Did he need any treatment while at the hospital?
No, he was checked out. The doctor came in and looked at his shoulder. I do not believe any medications were given. There may have been, I believe they took an x-ray to check it, but he was ultimately cleared and turned over to police custody.
And during the time that you were with him while he was getting medically cleared, what type of conversation were you having? Was it a general conversation, or were you talking to him about the loitering?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
The conversation was general. Mr. Brooks asked several times if I would give him more information as to why he was in custody, and I would continue to tell him it was for the loitering violation. But the conversations were mostly, we talked about sports. The Green Bay Packers had played that day. We talked about the game. I remember him telling me that baseball was his favorite sport, and things of that nature. He was upset that the Packers had lost the game. So it was general conversation, not related to why he was specifically in custody.
At some point, did you decide that you were going to try to talk to the defendant about at least the loitering incident?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Relevancy.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Do you know approximately what time that took place?
11:04 p.m.
And how did you approach this interview? You've now been with Mr. Brooks for maybe 5 hours. Would that be fair?
Yes.
How did you decide to approach this interview with him?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
I just explained to Mr. Brooks that I simply wanted to speak with him about why he was in the neighborhood where he was discovered that night, what was going on, what led to him being there, and that I was just looking to have answers to that if he was willing to provide them.
Okay. And was Mr. Brooks in a room that had the ability to record the conversation that you had with him?
Objection, I don't consent to being called on there.
Overruled. You may answer.
No, not Not in the manner we would if we were at our typical police departments. Our police department would have a camera mounted in the corner that would record audio and video. They did have a security camera, but it had no audio capability.
So what did you do?
I utilized my department-issued phone and recorded the audio of the interview that way.
So you had the audio on your phone and the visual, or there was a visual recording. Is that true?
Yes, so the audio was on my phone, and then the visual recording was through the hospital security system.
Bless you. So they didn't marry up with one another, correct? I mean, in terms of, I should strike that. You couldn't play the audio with the visual. They're two different recordings.
Yes.
Okay. Who else was with you during this interview?
At that time, Detective Ben Stern from my department was with me, as well as 2 federal agents from the FBI, Agent Mary Davidson and Agent Jeremy, I believe it's Pilichowski.
Why were they there?
So the FBI came involved in the investigation early on because we were not certain at that point whether or not this was a terrorist incident.
So how did it work? Were they in the room and then Mr. Brooks was brought into the room, or how did that work?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name and is leading the witness.
Overruled as to the name, sustained as to the form of the question.
How did you all get into the same room?
So I was in the room waiting for Mr. Brooks. Mr. Brooks was brought from another room by Detective Stern. At this point, the audio recording on my phone was already running. I believe the 2 FBI agents were with me in the room, and then, like I say, Mr. Brooks was escorted in by Detective Stern.
This is the audio interview we are going to listen to in full in just a few moments.
Did you introduce yourselves? Well, you had been with Mr. Brooks previously, correct?
Objection.
Yes, I had.
Overruled, you may answer.
Yes, I had.
Okay. Had he been introduced to Detective Stern already?
Yes, he had.
Okay. And how about the 2 FBI agents?
It was at that point that they introduced themselves to Mr. Brooks.
What was his reaction to that when they introduced themselves?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled, you may answer.
I'm very surprised. He said the word FBI, in the form of a question. I could tell his tone was very surprised. It wasn't as calm as he had been. He seemed concerned, uneasy, and within about a minute after stating that, he questioned the agents further as to whether they were really FBI agents, and he was surprised to see them there, and he had never actually seen an FBI agent before, so he was definitely surprised, and I could tell he was uncomfortable.
Did you record the entire conversation you had with the defendant?
Yes, at that point, all that is on recording. At that point, yes.
And have you had the opportunity to review that recording prior to today's date?
I have.
I would like to admit Exhibit 81 for the
Objection.
court. It is the audio interview of the defendant that took place on November 21st, 2021. It's previously been addressed by this court.
Objection.
Remind me how long it is again.
Your Honor, the entire video is 25 minutes approximately. I'm asking to play from 4 minutes and 25 seconds to 14 minutes and 25 seconds approximately. Well, it would be 10 minutes.
I presume you'll have questions regarding that once you play it.
Correct.
All right. Given that it's just before 5 o'clock, I'm going to stop for the day. We can pick up with this tomorrow. You can sit down for the moment, and I will have our instruction for the jurors. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, do not begin your deliberations and discussion of this case until all these rules that could result in a new trial involving additional time and significant expense to the parties and the taxpayers. You are to decide the case solely on the evidence offered and received at trial. With that, you are excused for the evening. We'll see you tomorrow morning. All rise for the jurors, please.
I wonder what he's tearing up. Was it the witness list?
I'm printing out a draft of preliminary, you can be seated, in jury instruction 60, which concerns use of an interpreter for a witness. I have a question about that second paragraph, which relates to whether the witness knows some English or not, and so we'll review that tomorrow morning first thing, but it'll be provided to the parties, so you have that to look at this evening. With that, I'll see everyone tomorrow at 8:30. Thank you.
I gotta get back to them.
Okay. I need my staff and then.
And we are now on day 9. This morning's session is so frustrating. Assistant DA Basie did not have to give Brooks a heads up about these recordings. She probably shouldn't have, because he is such an entitled fool about it.
All right, good morning, everyone. I will get started. I will call State of Wisconsin versus Darrell Brooks, case number 21 CF 1848. May I have the appearances, please?
Good morning, Judge Sue Upper, Leslie Basie, and Zach Witchow appearing for the state of Wisconsin.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. Please state your name for the record.
I'm here as a third-party intervener in that matter, appearing as authorized representative for my client. I accept for value and return for value all of the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption available for discharge of all obligations and charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any other facts in the charging instruments.
Record should reflect that the individual known to this court as Darrell Brooks is present in person in custody in street clothing, wearing a suit and tie and a mask.
For the record,
today.
I do not consent to being called that name, Your Honor.
All right,
And we still have yet to address subject matter jurisdiction.
The court
For
has
the
addressed
record.
it for the record. So
For the record, has it been proven?
Mr. Brooks, I stand by the written decision that I issued in this case last week. A second
What written
copy was
decision are you
provided. Please
referring
don't
to?
interrupt me. A second copy was provided to you. I know you saw it because you tore it up yesterday. So I'm not going to address it any further.
Are you
You are
talking about
mistaken and wrong about the law that it needs to be verified or proven.
Are you talking about the paper I accepted in return for value?
So with
Accepted
that,
for value in
I
return for
believe,
value?
Mr. Brooks, I'm going to continue with this trial, whether you believe jurisdiction has been proven or
It has not been proven for the record.
And it has. So
It has
with
not.
that, Detective Carpenter was on the stand,
And it needs to be proven
and I
per the prosecution.
would like to have him brought back up unless there's any other issues the parties wish the court to address from the state.
I did want to address something briefly.
Go ahead.
As the court knows from our short discussions yesterday, the state will be playing a couple videos of the defendants in his statements. The court had previously heard those as part of a motion hearing, and I'm not sure if I'm really giving the defendant notice or what I'm doing, but I really tried hard, and I'm pulling out snippets from this because If the court recalls, there are a lot of references that the defendant makes to prior domestics with Erica, his prior record, things that the court had previously excluded. So I'm going through and I am pulling specific time ranges from this so that nothing that was previously ruled inadmissible comes in. And I guess obviously this defendant has the absolute right to cross-examine the witness. He has the right, and we've offered and we have been putting exhibits up for him. But I do want it to be noted that I would not be willing to have Mr. Brooks just say, oh, go to about the 7-minute mark, because if he even goes like 2 seconds before a clip that I had played or 2 seconds after, it could include information that was previously ruled inadmissible. And I guess what I would say to the defendant is the court has previously protected the defendant to make sure that things didn't come out, where he asked a question that could be construed as opening the door and the court said, we're not going to go there, Mr. Brooks, and he got the message. However, with this, if there's any portion of this video that's played that talks about the prior with Erica, I do consider that he has opened the door, and I will be asking the witness about it. So I guess this is maybe more so directed at Mr. Brooks, that if he plays clips that contain that information, he will have opened the door. He's had this video for weeks at least. These videos have been subject to a motion hearing. I'm not sure exactly what access he had to them before. I've reviewed the 5-hour video a number of times. I've been very meticulous in my timestamps that I'm grabbing out from here. And I am unwilling to have the defendant put Ms. Gussie in a spot where he's kind of, well, around this point. He needs to give exact times that he wants started and stopped. Because what happens is if he says, okay, can you pause here? By the time he says that, 5 seconds may have gone by, which may be enough to, some of these, if I would play 2 more seconds than what I have here, it would open the door. So I just want the defendant to realize that this is kind of a slippery slope here, and he proceeds at his own risk. And I'm not going to ask Ms. Gussie to stop it at a certain time because I think something's about to be said. That's on the defendants. And if he opens the door, I can assure you I will go into it. So I did want to put that on the record, Judge, not to be a jerk about it, but just once it's out there, I can't not address it. And if it's the defendant who brings it out there into the view of the jury, then I'm going to feel compelled to address it. And then I didn't know if the court wanted to go through the preliminary instruction that you had provided previously on the interpreter. My understanding is that Mr. Marquez speaks very little English. If you want to add the added paragraph, that would be fine for the state. I've had 2 discussions with him, and I would not say he is, that English is a comfortable language for him.
All right, thank you. As to the first part, to what the state brings up regarding the redacted recording, I would remind Mr. Brooks the court did enter some rulings previously. Why do you have to roll your eyes at me? Let's start the morning off on a good note,
I didn't
sir.
roll my eyes at you, so I don't think it's fair that you should say I rolled my eyes at you.
I saw you roll your eyes at me. I'm not
I
gonna
didn't roll
debate
my
about it.
eyes at you, so don't do that.
Well, Mr. Brooks, I'd appreciate a little bit more respect. These
I would too,
rulings,
Your Honor.
let me finish, because now you're interrupting me. These rulings were entered by the court to prevent other acts evidence from coming in. But a defendant can open the door in a variety of ways. These recordings, and I have reviewed them previously, do contain discussion and statements by you regarding these other acts. And as you heard from Attorney Basie, she has all of the timestamps to stop at appropriate times so that the state does not run afoul of those pretrial rulings. You can open the door by asking questions, by asking for a video to be played, and not knowing those exact timestamps. I think it's important that I reinforce what the state has just advised you of, so that when you are watching the recording, as all of us will be, if there is something you want replayed and you want to cross-examine the witness about, that you know those time stamps, and then the state has graciously indicated they would assist once again in replaying portions of that video. I don't need a response from you unless you feel you would like to give a response to any of that.
With all due respect, they're the ones that want to play the video, so I don't understand how I'm the one opening the door. They chose to play the video, so
they're not going to play the entire video, though. They're going to redact out, probably stop, fast forward the portions that this court said would be inadmissible. So for example, if during your cross-examination of Detective Carpenter, you ask the state to replay a portion of the video and you say, go back to around the 7-minute mark, you have to understand that you may open the door, even inadvertently, to some of those other acts, evidence coming in. So what I'm telling you is, if you want any portions replayed, then, or if you ask for the entire video to be played under the rule of completeness, that you have an understanding that you would be opening the door to the evidence of other acts coming in. Potentially, I'll have to rule on it at that time. So be mindful of the timestamps.
I don't understand, and Your Honor, that's almost like you making a ruling and then it not having any standing. If you already made a ruling.
The ruling's against them. I told the state they can't offer this evidence.
Right.
They're the one. So if you offer the evidence or ask questions that would open the door, that's a different story. And we all have treaded lightly when you've asked questions that would have opened the door to a variety of witnesses. So the state's just simply saying, look, we're going to do our job. We're not going to put in the other act's evidence. We're going to pause the video, fast forward the appropriate spots. But if you want any portions replayed, or if you ask for the entire video to be played, then you do that at your peril of having those other acts' evidence come in. So that's all I want to tell you. As far as the jury instruction, do you have any position on whether that second, well, I shouldn't say second, it's the very last paragraph where it says, add the following if appropriate. Do you have any position on whether the court reads this entire jury instruction 60 to the jury prior to Mr. Marquez being called as a witness?
Yeah, I think the jury should hear whatever needs that they need to hear.
Do you have a position on that last paragraph specifically, sir, given the information that the state has provided today?
Last paragraph.
It's in brackets, and it's after a bolded section that says, add the following if appropriate. I advised the parties yesterday we would be talking about that this morning.
I mean, it was just stated that the witness doesn't speak very good English. And so that would indicate that it would be a lot more work for the interpreter to make sure.
That's not what I'm asking you about, sir. I'm asking whether you have a position on whether I include the very last paragraph of that instruction to the jury.
No, I don't feel like that needs to be read to the jury. I think it's pretty clear from all the language leading up to that.
Let me ask Attorney Basie a question about the contact the Office of the District Attorney has had with Mr. Marquez. Were you able to communicate at all in any way in English, even if you would describe it as broken English?
Yes, I think our last conversation, we probably said, I said something in English, he responded, and then when I said something else, I think he needed translation for that. His primary, our victim witness person, specialist assigned to the case, is bilingual, and she speaks to him in Spanish.
All right, given that bit of information provided by the DAs and Office of the Court regarding his ability to answer some but not most, I think it's appropriate to read the very last paragraph. Certainly doesn't hurt. It's not going to take away. So I will read the entirety of jury instruction 60. Obviously the part that says read here if appropriate comes out, and then I will print that off, and that's what I will read at the appropriate time. Did that print, Madam Clerk?
Quick question on that. How do we know exactly what words the witness will be able to understand in English versus?
That's not how the interpretation works. The questions are in English. They're interpreted in Spanish to the witness. The witness will answer, presumably in Spanish, and then the witness's words will be interpreted in English. And it's the English, as this instruction says, that is the evidence.
I think it's a little unfair that prosecution has had conversations with the witness and I haven't, considering that it's my witness.
They were on the state's witness list as well, I believe. So it's fair for either party to reach out, and if witnesses want to talk to either party in preparation, that's frankly fair game.
So how would I be able to reach out to a witness?
Mr. Brooks, you are representing yourself. That obviously poses some challenges and difficulties, but that is the state and stage that we are at. So with that, I know we'll get Detective Carpenter on the stand. He can come up and be out here when the jury comes out. So come on up, sir. I will swear you in again, as is my practice when there's a witness on the stand for a second day.
I have one more thing real quick.
Well, it needs to be other than subject matter jurisdiction, so what is it?
You didn't even let me get to it.
I said, what is it? I said it needs to be something other than subject matter jurisdiction.
Can I
What
get
is
to it?
You can say.
There's no way to know what I'm going to say if I can't say it.
Mr. Brooks, please tell me what it is you'd like to address.
I want to address why my ICFs have not been addressed, because I know you have them. Why have I not gotten copies? I've gotten copies of every other ICF. Why not the recent ones?
Sir, I am not going to be the intermediary anymore for ICFs that are directed to the clerk of court regarding copies.
That's not explaining why I haven't.
I'm not the keeper of the record.
If
So
they've
if there's
been
something
received.
you want me to address, then you should address your ICF to me and not the clerk of court.
Well, where is the ICF?
Sir,
if I sent it,
I
I should be
am
able
not-
to get a copy. I've gotten copies of every single one.
You need
whether
to
they were
ask
addressed,
for that from the clerk
whether
of
they
court.
were addressed to you or whether they were addressed to the clerk of courts. I've always
I'm not going to
been
address that
told.
further, Mr. Brooks. I'm not going to be the intermediary when
So
you
what's
have
the-
questions to the clerk of court.
So
for
what's the
copies
point of
and
me
things
sending the
like that.
ICF, me doing what you asked me to do, and sending them, and then not being able to know if they've even been received and get a copy of them, which I've been getting
If
copies
you
of
did
them
not
ever
ask
since.
for a copy of the ICF, they don't have any obligation to send it.
I addressed it when I first sent it. I asked you on the record, did you receive it?
Mr. Brooks,
You said-
I didn't receive anything because nothing has been sent to me.
Well,
so
where's the
if there's
ICF?
something that you need, then you should reach back out to the clerk of
I
court.
shouldn't have to do
but
that
we're
if
not
I
going to
sent
take
it.
up court time regarding an ICF sent to the clerk of court. Again, I will advise you once again, I did this the other day, if there's something case related, it needs to be addressed to me. If it has to do with the record, it needs to go to the clerk of court.
And it was.
Because I
it was
am
sent to the
not
clerk of court.
the
But I
custodian.
still should be able to be told if it was received and get a copy, which you've done that before every single ICF.
And I told you I
So why
would
does
no
it change?
longer be doing that, sir, because of this very issue. It
So you
takes
saying
up
so
court
now it
time.
changes? So now it changes all of a sudden?
No, it didn't change all of a sudden, sir, and you know that. So don't try to confuse
Does
the
it change
record.
all of a suddenly? Because I've been getting copies of everything I've sent, which is what you asked me to
This
do.
changed last week, and you know that.
It shouldn't change.
So
no, I
with
don't
that,
know it.
I'm bringing the jury out, and I'm not addressing this issue.
So I
We're
want the
gonna
copy of
continue
my
forward.
ICS that I send.
Send the request to the
I don't
clerk's
have to
office.
send her another request. Where's the one that I just sent last week?
All right, the jury is going to come out, so please be respectful.
I will, but at the same time, you still have to. I did what you asked me to do. If you tell me to do something and I do it, and then now you're saying I'm not going to get a copy, which you've been providing them ever since you told me to do it.
Mr. Brooks, the rules on that changed last week.
No, it did not. I'm still supposed to be able to say if it's been received or not. So why should I have to send multiple ICFs to even know if they've been received? That's ridiculous, Your
I'm
Honor.
going to give the parties the final version of jury instruction 60, which I will be reading at the appropriate time.
Come on, you can't change stuff at the last minute. You
No,
asked me
Mr.
to
Brooks,
do
I
something.
did it as a courtesy,
You
and
act-
frankly,
No.
you're not courteous
I'm not.
to me.
I'm not
So
even.
The
I'm
jury's
not even.
coming out.
I'm not even
The
referring
record
to
should
that.
reflect that the jury
I'm referring
is
to the
coming
fact. I'm
out.
referring to the fact that you haven't even
Mr.
had enough
Brooks,
respect to tell
please
me
be
it's been
respectful
received.
to the jury. They're coming out.
Okay, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to tell me if my ICF has been received. ICFs that you told me to submit. You told me that.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will disregard the commentary by Mr.
I
Brooks.
accept for
at this
value and
point.
return for value this document. Just like you've been hiding everything from the jury that they
The
need to
jury
use.
will disregard. The court is not hiding anything from the jury.
Yeah, you are.
So,
Yeah, you
Mr.
are.
Brooks, please be respectful of the jury. They're
And you
coming
should- you
out.
should be respectful
We
of what
are
you asked me to do.
addressing issues that are not related to evidence
They
in
are.
this case.
You asked me to do
Mr.
something,
Brooks,
I do it,
please.
and
all
then
right.
now it changes.
Everyone can be seated. Thank you.
This is ridiculous. Just like subject matter jurisdiction hasn't been proved. Just like you're making judicial determinations that you don't have to prove anything by law,
Hold on.
which is a tacit agreement by you, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please disregard the statements currently
Why? 'Cause
being
it's
made
true?
by Mr. Brooks.
Why? 'Cause
They are
it's true?
Incorrect statements of the law. They
Then
are
prove
not
that they're
evidence.
incorrect. Prove.
In this case,
Where's the proof? Where's the legal proof?
and you need to disregard them.
Because you don't have it.
And we are
don't
going
have
to
legal
continue
proof.
with testimony, Mr. Brooks. I warn you, do not interrupt.
I
or
don't
we
identify
will
by
have
that
a
name.
discussion about whether you will continue to be here.
I don't
All right.
consent to being called that name for the record.
Detective Carpenter, please stand, as is my practice when a witness is on the stand for a second day to be sworn in again. Go ahead, Teresa. Please raise your right
Lie
hand.
to the jury.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And just for the record, please state your name for day 2.
Detective Jay Carpenter, JayCarpenter.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, you may continue.
Sir, yesterday when we ended for the day, we were at the point where we were talking about you interviewing the defendant, Darrell Brooks, on November 21st, 2021 at approximately 11 o'clock p.m. Do you recall that?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name for the record.
Objection is overruled.
Yes, I do
Grounds
recall
for the
that.
overrule.
Not relevant.
Yeah, it is relevant.
Your Honor, at this point, or I think last night, we asked for State's Exhibit 81 to be admitted into evidence, which is the defendant's statement provided to Detective Carpenter and Detective Stern on November 21st of last year.
And Exhibit 81 has received permission to publish is granted.
Objection.
My notes reflect that it's 25 minutes.
That is correct. Let me get the exact time of it.
Objection. I didn't provide any statement on the 21st.
The jury will disregard the statement by Mr. Brooks. He is not testifying, therefore his statements are not evidence.
And my objection should be noted for the record.
Please note his objection, Madam Clerk.
Your Honor, the entire video is 25 minutes and 27 seconds. The State will be playing from 4 minutes and 25 seconds to 14 minutes and 25 seconds.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So before it begins, I just wanted to clarify, we had talked about it last night a little bit. What we are hearing today is the audio interview only, correct?
Objection leading.
Overruled is foundational. She may ask it that way. Go ahead, you may answer, sir.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'll go grab you.
I'll tell you. It's like,
Darrell?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Darrell. I'm Jerry Wachowski from the FBI. FBI, yeah.
FBI?
I'm Mary. Yep.
they're just kind of helping out because we're so short-staffed tonight. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
that's all it is.
How's your shoulder, right?
Yeah, well, he said in 4 to 6 weeks I might have to get it because it's still something's wrong. I know.
You bang it up before or something?
Nah, it was just the way they slammed me.
Okay.
Hit the ground. I kind of like went up. Boom, boom. That's where the knee came from.
Knee
But,
as well. Okay.
yeah, but the shoulder, I know something's wrong.
Yeah.
He said 4 to 6 weeks, the MRI won't be able to tell if anything's torn or anything like that. So
Okay.
FBI though.
We help out our local partners all the time. This is just something that we're here to help
Because
with.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, believe it or not, we work at NPD a lot. We come down here, so we're kind of all over the place. But yeah, like
I've never,
Carpenter
like,
said, we're
y'all for real, the FBI group.
Yeah.
This says at least, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not trying to be funny, but this is the first time I've ever even seen an FBI agent in real life.
We get that reaction from most.
No, because it's like, am I in a movie right now? Y'all sure y'all not punking or pranking me or something?
Yeah. You don't need to let that freak you out or anything. Again, we do work. So we work on a task force with MPD quite a bit. So
I'm
we are.
gonna put my arm like this just to stretch it out. I don't want you to think I'm doing nothing crazy.
You good? You good?
It leaves some pressure. Something right up in.
No, you're good. Yeah, like she was saying, don't let them get out. Don't let them make you nervous. Okay. You'll be talking to me mostly and my partner a bit. No, they'll ask you a little too, but just trying to get to the bottom of everything. Look, you were found basically running around in the yard. You said you grabbed dude's phone. That's
No, I didn't grab it.
I don't mean you stole it. You asked for it and you made a call. And that's just kind of what I'm up here to start with and get the background about it. If you're willing to tell me just what you were doing in the yard, because obviously we have the perception we got, like I told you. They said, okay, they had us write this warrant, get some of your blood. But I have one side. So what am I missing? I'm missing Darrell's side, right? I don't know what created all this, why these people are calling us. And I can't really clear that up, or I'd like to clear that up, but the best way to clear it up is if, you're willing to talk to me about it, okay? And that's just kind of what I'm here to sit down and chill with you about. We've been talking to you, about 4 hours now? And we've
Probably
been
longer.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. It's been
Probably
pretty laid
longer.
back, so I'm looking to keep it that way. I'm not looking to pull any fast ones on you. That's why I've been straight with you to that point. I'm going to keep doing that now, right? Darrell, is it Darrell? Do I have the spelling right?
Yes, sir.
And it's D. Edward, like full middle is Edward, right?
Yes, sir.
Brooks, Brooks.
Yes, sir.
And just verify your date of birth for me.
2/21/82.
82. So you're 39?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Married at all?
No.
No?
As little as I am, I'm like, you have to slam me.
Yeah, how many kids you got?
3.
3? How old are they?
18, 14, and 7.
18, 14, and 7. Yeah, what do they like to do?
My baby girls, they into everything that's going on right now. The TikTok, the Instagram, right? They always dance and making videos. My oldest daughter just started high school.
Yeah.
And my baby girl she just started the 1st grade. So,
So they could all
my son is the oldest. My girls are the youngest.
They could build a computer, but can't normally talk like we know how to, right? Yeah. So you're born in Milwaukee?
Actually, Detroit.
Detroit.
Yes, sir.
Living in Milwaukee now?
Yes, sir. Grew up here. We left Detroit when I was I don't even think I was walking and talking yet. So, Milwaukee's home, Wisconsin's home, born and raised.
Okay. Not working right now, right?
No, not at the moment.
What do you do when you're working? What do you consider your job?
The last job I just had, I was working at a sheet metal place.
Okay.
Basically just they would have these hook things. You just basically, it's strenuous because you got to do a lot of lifting, and it's a lot of heavy lifting, but you basically just hanging these pieces on these hooks, and they're going through the thing, they're steaming them, painting them, then they come back around and you just box them up and load them.
So you're not married?
No.
You have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
You live with her?
No.
What's her name, your girlfriend's name?
Her name is Erica Patterson.
How do you spell it?
Erika.
P-A...
Yeah, Patters.
Okay, and it's 4014 North 19th Street in Milwaukee. Do I have the right address?
Yes, sir.
Is that an apartment or a house?
It's a house.
Okay. What's the zip code there?
53209.
Okay. And last grade you completed in school?
12th.
Graduated high school?
Yes, sir.
What school did you go to in Milwaukee?
Riverside.
Riverside?
Yes, sir. Milwaukee Riverside Tigers. I see you smile. You know about Riverside, man?
I heard things.
We kicked y'all button football.
It was West Dallas.
Oh, no.
I don't even play Riverside.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, I appreciate all the cooperation and all the good dialogue we've had, to this point, Darrell. Being that you're sitting here and I had some handcuffs on you before and all that jazz,
Absolutely.
You familiar with your legal rights?
Yes, I have.
You ever had those read to you before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So as you can see, they're written on this paper. So because, if I was sitting here and talking to you on your couch, we wouldn't have to worry about this. But because you're here and not in your home, it's kind of a thing I got to read to you, okay? And again, it's just something I got to read to you before I kind of get your side, or hopefully get your side here, and love to hear your side. I'd like to know what Darrell has to say about, we got some people calling us saying this, he said, you made hundreds before. No, I wasn't driving. Someone thought you might have been. He had to get that warrant. He ended up calling a guy just to use his phone, kind of loitering around, and just, how he ended up kind of being it. That's what they say.
No. I was going to say, I knocked on his door to use his phone.
Yep. Right, but it probably wasn't him that called because he got his phone, but someone was concerned about something. So just trying to figure out what's going on down in that neighborhood. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Darrell.
You kind of, like I said, that wasn't probably the best, but I was just like, I need to get an Uber. Yep. I have money on my Cash App card.
Yep.
So I'm not trying to rob anybody.
Sure.
I'm not trying to break it and obviously you can tell I'm not drunk. I'm not, under the influence of anything. So
okay. All right.
So it's what it was.
Okay. All right. In regards to these, Darrell, then, do you understand that you have the right to remain silent? Just answer everything with a yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I just write down your reply. You understand if you give up that right, anything you say may be used against you in court?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand you have the right to consult with an attorney and have an attorney present during any questioning?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you by the court?
Yes, sir.
Understanding the above rights, Darrell, are you willing to speak with me, us, primarily me? I'm the one that's going to be doing most of the talking probably.
I just want to know a little bit more about what's going on. Just a little bit. Because
Like I told you, I know very little. I just know that, you were down in this neighborhood, someone called, they didn't know what you were doing down there and things like that. So I got limited from their side, but I'm looking to see, what you have to say about it. I'm looking to see, maybe the caller was just on some BS down there. I don't know. I don't know. But I can't really show the court that if I don't have, if I haven't talked to you. So that's why I'm here, just to kind of see what you got to say about it. Get your side of it. Running around a neighborhood's not the end of the world. It's not a huge deal.
Right. Unfortunately, I wouldn't have had to do that if I made better decisions with maybe.
Yeah.
But not gonna point the finger.
Sure.
I'm a grown man. I make my own decisions, so I'm not gonna point the finger at nobody. I just didn't think it.
Didn't think it.
Yeah. What the hell?
You want to speak with me, Darrell?
Nah, right now.
So, was a decision made to speak with Mr. Brooks the following day?
Objection. Being called their name, leading the witnesses.
The objections are overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Now, when you spoke with the defendant on the 21st, what did you have some general information as to casualties from the parade?
Yes, I did.
What information did you have at that point?
At that point, not all the information was in yet, but I knew, as I stated in previous testimony, our emergency department was very full. I knew there were significant injuries to many people. I knew some were deceased. I did not know the exact number at that time.
You had approximately another couple minutes of conversations with Mr. Brooks before you called it a night. What was the vibe that you got from him during those couple minutes?
Objection. I don't consent to being called their names, leading the witness.
The objection's overruled. You may answer.
I would say friendly. I think when you heard the clip there, Mr. Brooks jokes about Riverside and football. The individual he was talking to at that time was Detective Stern, as you can't obviously see him in the video. I could sense, and I believe you can hear it in Mr. Brooks's voice in that clip. The FBI put him on edge. It was unusual to see them. I could sense the nervousness. He did transition as I talked to him more throughout that clip into a more normal conversational tone again. But when I was speaking with Mr. Brooks casually throughout the night, that was the type of tone he had with us. It was very friendly, and he seemed, when it came to myself and Detective Stern, very comfortable speaking with us.
Now, you had stated your initial intent was to talk to him about loitering in the area that he was arrested. Do you recall that?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, I do.
Did Mr. Brooks at all talk to you about the loitering in terms of what the focus of your investigation was that night?
Objection. I don't consent to being called their name, leading the witness.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, the statements he made in there, about, being in the area because he needed an Uber. He says more, to us about not knowing the area of Waukesha. He doesn't know the streets, things of that nature, and he just needed an Uber to get home. That was his reasoning for being down there, and he stuck to that reasoning the entire time.
Direct your attention then to the next day. So, Shrek, that night, was he transported to a Muskego Police Department?
Yes, he was.
And did you go to Muskego Police Department?
Yes, I did.
Did you transport him?
So it was a dual transport. Officer Leija from the Waukesha Police Department responded to Waukesha Memorial Hospital in a marked squad car that has an appropriate rear backseat transport compartment. Mr. Brooks was placed in that car, and myself and Detective Stern followed in a separate car.
So once you get to City of Muskego Police Department, do you do anything there?
Objection, lead.
Overrule. You may answer.
Not the first night. Myself and Detective Stern stood by while some basic medical questions that were part of Muskego Police Department's policy as far as holding a prisoner were asked of him. I was there until Mr. Brooks was placed into his cell. Once Mr. Brooks was in his cell, I explained to him that me personally, would be returning the next day to speak with him more and give him more information about the investigation.
Did Officer Leija end up staying at the Muskego Police Department with the defendant?
Objection, respectfully to you.
Overrule.
Yes, he did.
Why was that?
Objection, lead.
Overruled.
That was Muskego's request, being Mr. Brooks was, because of the transition and we did not have our own municipal lockup facility, we requested to use Muskego Police Departments and they allowed it. But being Mr. Brooks was technically in our custody, they requested that one of our officers stay there to do the monitoring and the jail checks.
So did you return to the City of Muskego Police Department the next day, November 22nd, to speak with Mr. Brooks again?
Objection,
Yes, I did.
I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, I did.
Did you return with anyone?
I returned with Detective Ben Stern.
Now, what was the plan for this interview? You had said the previous day the intent was to kind of start very low, just looking at loitering. Did you have a plan going into the interview on the 22nd?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
I did.
What was that plan?
So the plan was different from the prior day. So the interview with Mr. Brooks on the 22nd didn't start till about a little after noon that afternoon, 12:11 p.m. to be exact. Around 8 a.m. that morning, there was a briefing with all officers that were involved where I learned some additional information. One of the things I learned that morning was that there was a domestic abuse incident that had occurred between Darrell Brooks and Erica Patterson, something I was not aware of when I was with Mr. Brooks during the evening hours of November 21st. There was also much more information at this point in regards to the parade incident. As I had stated in my earlier testimony, it was very, very chaotic that first night between radio traffic and what I could hear going on down in the downtown. As I had stated, it was really unlike anything I've ever been involved in. But by Tuesday morning, the 22nd, we had narrowed it down to basically just Mr. Brooks, that there were not 4 people in this car. We were looking at 1 man. So he was now a suspect in the domestic abuse and driving in the parade. So I chose to begin the interview on the less serious matter, that being the battery charge that he was looking at with Erica Patterson.
Now, you said Tuesday the 22nd.
Monday, excuse me.
Okay, thank you. And what do you try to do when you're meeting with someone? Do you try to establish any type of rapport with that person? Is that helpful? How did you approach this interview on the 22nd?
Objection, leading.
I'll sustain as to the form of the question. It was actually compound, if you could rephrase.
How did you approach the questioning of Mr. Brooks on the 22nd?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
So when I began to speak with Darrell Brooks on the 22nd, I began with some very light conversation. I explained to Mr. Brooks that I had more information from the previous day. I explained to Mr. Brooks that his girlfriend at that time, Erica Patterson, had made some domestic abuse allegations against him that were physical in nature. I didn't indicate to him exactly what she said he did, but that there were physical allegations. I explained to Mr. Brooks that there's always 2 sides to a story and that a lot of times in my experience as an officer, it can be about perspective. There's side A, there's side C, so to speak, and maybe B somewhere in the middle can be your truth. And I basically just implored him to be honest. I touched on the fact we had talked extensively the night before about things such as him enjoying baseball, him having watched the Packer game, him having been disappointed by the result of the Packer game. And in situations such as interrogations, I think it's always important to let a person know that obviously I'm an officer, but I'm a human being, as are they. And you want to try to not let them see that barrier and feel comfortable talking to you. I think in any interpersonal relationship in society, there needs to be rapport. And I try to establish that before getting into the specific details of the crime at hand.
Now, you said that you had a briefing prior to going back to the City of Muskego Police Department.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have, you said you had more information about the parade incident and also the domestic incident, correct?
Objection leading.
Overruled. His answer may stand. Next question.
Did you know at that time, prior to speaking with Mr. Brooks, how many people had died during the parade incident?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes, I did.
And how many people was that at that time?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
At that point, it was 5.
So, did you confirm, again, personal information for the defendant before starting the interview?
Yes, I did.
Did you read the Miranda form like you did the night before?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 174. Now, is that the Miranda statement form that you completed on November 22nd with Mr. Brooks?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes, it is.
And what time was that completed?
12:11 p.m.
What exhibit is that?
174.
174?
174. And did you read that form to Mr. Brooks?
Objection. What is that?
Overruled.
Yes, I did.
And did you read that form to him in its entirety?
Yes, I did.
I'd ask that Exhibit 174 be moved into evidence.
Objection. Relevancy.
Exhibit 174 is received.
Now, when we look at Exhibit 174, it says spouse's name. It says Erica Patterson. Do you see that?
Objection leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question. You did not ask the published. I did not. I just want to make sure that's what you were not looking to do.
Correct. No.
Okay. Thank you.
There's a spot in this form that says spouse's name. Is that filled in?
Yes.
And what does it say?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
It says Erica Patterson.
Did he say that they were married?
He did not. He said that was his girlfriend, however.
And he indicated he had children?
Objection leading.
It's background foundational. It's the witness may answer. The objection's overruled.
Yes, he did.
How many children did he have?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
3.
And you read each of the 5 rights that are listed on this form?
Yes, I did.
And did he agree to speak with you?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
Okay. I would ask that Exhibit 174 be published to the jury.
Objection. Relevancy.
The exhibit's already been received. Noting your objection, it's overruled. Permission to publish is granted.
Now, as that form is coming up in the jury box, just for the jurors to see, when you initially had contact with the defendant that morning, did you verify if he had been fed?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, I did.
And had he been fed dinner the night before, breakfast that morning, lunch that afternoon?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, he had.
And was he complaining about any physical injuries?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, he was continuing to complain about, excuse me, he was continuing to complain about the injury to his right shoulder, which he still at that time was asserting occurred when officers at the time of his arrest body slammed him.
Now, with regard to the second interview, the one that took place on November 22nd, was that recorded?
Yes, it was.
And would it be fair to say that recorded interview was 4 hours, 55 minutes, and 30 seconds?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, that would be correct.
Okay. And you've had the opportunity to listen to that interview?
Yes, I have.
I'm going to go through that interview with you. I'm not going to play the whole 5 hours, but just portions of that. I'll stop it during specific clips that I'm providing to Ms. Gussie, and we'll talk about it. Is that all right?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Before you do that, I'm told our interpreter will be here momentarily, and rather than you start, I think it would be best if we just take a short break till the interpreter's here. Is the witness here?
I believe he was coming at 10.
Oh, okay, that's fine then. Then I appreciate that additional information. Then we'll keep going. Sorry for the interruption.
Let me see if maybe he's here early.
Okay.
He's not here yet.
Okay, then we will keep going, and just let me know when the witness gets here.
You can take this exhibit off the screen. If we can go to 7 minutes and 30 seconds to 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Dave. So before she starts it, is this the interview room that was at the San Diego Police Department?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And it's paused right now, but who's in that room?
Objection, Leija.
Overruled.
The person in that room in the red t-shirt with the mask partially covering their face, longer braided appearing hair, is Darrell Edward Brooks. The same individual sitting to my left in the suit, jacket, shorter hair, and surgical mask.
Okay. And the other two people depicted here?
The person, as you would look to the screen to the left, is myself, and on the right is Detective Ben Stern.
Okay. So again, going to 7 minutes and 30 seconds. We're going to play it, but not with sound, until 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Okay. So it now is at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. If we can play until 8 minutes and 20 seconds.
Hang the metal pieces on the little machine thing that comes around. They take them. The pieces go through like this little steamer type machine thing, and then they paint it, and then they come back around, and we just take them off the hook and just put them in the box, load them up, put them back on the truck. It was 4 on, 3 off, so that was more ideal because
That's a great schedule.
I mostly have my children the back half of the week.
Sure.
But since all this, I've been having them every day. So it's like,
How old are your kids?
my son is grown. My oldest daughter is 14, and my youngest daughter is 7.
You said your oldest son's grown. How old is he?
He's 18.
They all live with you then in Milwaukee?
Well, my son doesn't.
Your son doesn't?
My son doesn't.
Okay. All right.
So initially, what were you speaking with Mr. Brooks about when he was describing doing something with metal?
Objection, Leija, and I do not consent to being called that name.
Overruled as to both objections. The witness may answer.
Just about work, he was Mr. Brooks was explaining a job he had prior. He indicated he was laid off due to the pandemic. So it was just general conversation about his work history.
And he talked about his kids. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And his 2 youngest kids, who did he say they lived with?
Objection, Leija.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Mr. Brooks was indicating they were living with him. However, the investigation showed that not to be the case. Of the two daughters, one lives down in Georgia in the Atlanta area and the other lives in Iowa.
Thank you. Now directing your attention to 14 minutes and 15 seconds into the interview, and I'd be playing that until 15 minutes and 48 seconds into the interview. It is currently at 14 minutes and 15 seconds.
Can I have those timestamps again, please?
Sure. 14 minutes and 15 seconds beginning to 15 minutes and 48 seconds.
Thank you.
I'd ask that that be played at this time.
Go ahead.
We're not on your college set. I gotta read it, okay? And I know you've heard it before, so you kind of understand that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any questions before I start for me?
Only thing I want to know is, what in the heck am I being charged with anything?
Well, she's making some, like I said, alleged allegations against you, kind of, for being physical. So that's what, if that's BS, that's what I'm looking to hear from you. Okay?
Total BS.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of, we couldn't track her down, so that's kind of where we're at. It's this typical back and forth stuff that guys like you go through with their baby mama all the time. And they're all, there's a lot of guys out there in your spot, and a lot of times, maybe it's not always fair to them, but that's kind of what
I wish they had a law to where people can, if you do that shit, you should get in trouble.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, why? You shouldn't be able to just be like, oh, I'm pissed off, so I'm going to call and do this.
Yep. I agree.
Like, why would you put me in that situation and then we're going to end up being together anyway? Why would you do that?
Trying to judge that credibility. Yeah, and that's total BS. So that's what that's why we're sitting in here with you, to try to sift through the BS, if that's what we got, and just go from there.
Crazy, man.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
Fucking girl, man. I said this last night too, didn't I? She get drunk and remember I kept saying that she fucking acts a fool and I'm the one that pays for it.
Yep.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about this clip?
Overruled.
So in this clip here, I'm just explaining to Mr. Brooks the background of the domestic abuse allegations that, officers had received from Erica Patterson, and that I was looking to get basically clarity on that, his side of the story on that, have him help me understand what aspects of it may or may not be true, and just walk me through what had occurred between the two of them.
And again, although we're approximately 15 minutes into the interview, have you mentioned anything about the parade incident or any victims?
Objection. Lee.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
I had not said anything about that at this point.
And why was that?
So what I wanted to do with this interview, as I stated in my earlier testimony, I wanted to start with the smaller things and get to the bigger things. The parade incident with the injuries of the individuals and the loss of life was obviously very serious. Part of what I believe as an investigator is very important is gauging credibility into the interview. And one of the ways you do that is you need to be careful. Obviously, at some point, if I'm going to take Mr. Brooks to jail, I have to tell him what he's being charged with. But I want to be very careful in giving too much information early on, so that I'm not leading him, so that I'm not giving him the opportunity based on information to create lies. I want to see how he reacts to things to help me gauge whether he's being truthful. And I found starting with the smaller aspect and seeing how truthful he was with that could help lead me into the more serious allegations and see if he was going to be truthful about those things as well.
Now, as I watched the snippet of the video that we showed, at one point you had indicated, guys like you get into these kind of situations with girls like that, or something to that effect. Do you recall that interaction in this video?
Yes, I do.
What do you mean by that? Or what were you trying to establish by making that statement?
Again, as I had stated in my earlier testimony, part of what I believe is important is simply building a rapport with an individual. Again, you always have with any individual in any interrogation, there's the natural barrier that can occur with them seeing you as a law enforcement officer. I've been doing this job for 18 years. That was not intended on any way on my part to suggest to Mr. Brooks that everything his girlfriend was saying was a lie. I just wanted him to feel comfortable telling me the truth, whatever that truth was, man to man or person to person, human being to human being.
Lying.
Directing your attention to 30 minutes and 26 seconds and playing this clip until 40 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's do that now.
Objection. Wasn't it just said we was 15 minutes in the interview? Why is it playing from 30 minutes?
Your objection is noted. It's overruled again. That's 30-26, you said?
30-26 to 40-30.
To 40-30. Go ahead.
No. What brought you to Waukesha yesterday? How did you get out here?
I was meeting up with a friend to watch the Packer game.
Okay.
That's the only reason why I was out here.
Where did you go to watch the game?
To a friend named Stephanie.
Her house, a bar, or
A house.
Yeah, I don't mean to make you uncomfortable or anything, but what's the address there? What's the
I
street
have
on?
no idea about Waukesha. I don't know the street.
What was it near? I know you had to see something near it. So what was it near?
Like a gas station?
Have you been to the house before?
No.
Never before?
No.
What's Stephanie's last name?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
When did you guys set this up?
Maybe a couple days ago.
Okay.
Like I said, I have a few friends. I have a few friends in Milwaukee that have people out here, so
Okay.
it's not, I don't, like I said last night, I don't know the streets in Waukesha. It's not where I usually hang out at, so I couldn't say, well, this street, and this, I couldn't.
All right.
Stephanie, like a friend of yours or like a friend of a friend?
A friend of a friend, mutual friend.
And what
She's
her
just
last
like,
name was?
I have no idea.
How long have you known her?
That was my first time meeting her. So,
How did you get the number to know the house to go to?
a friend.
So how did you get to her house?
My friend. I went with my friend.
Okay, who's that?
My friend, I don't really want to say his name. I don't know if that's going to incriminate him in anything. So.
Okay, so let's go with this. How did you come? I know you saw Erica yesterday in Waukesha because we talked to her. Now, I don't know everything that went on, and I'm not saying I believe everything she told the other officers. How did you come to meet with her in Waukesha, one? And two, you say you don't know Waukesha, but where did you meet her? A gas station, a park? I know you met her. Where did you meet her? What happened yesterday?
Yeah,
because if this is BS, like you say, and I know you met her, what happened? What happened when you met her? Where did you meet her? Let's start with that.
By a gas station.
Okay.
I don't know what I was supposed to be getting some money from her.
Okay. For what?
It was the rest of my money that she had of mine that she was holding for me.
Okay, how much?
It was supposed to be $350.
Okay. And why did she have it? Why was she holding
Well,
it?
she had been holding it for me for a few weeks now, but like I said, I hadn't seen her. She had seen
Right,
my
but what was she
already.
holding? Why did she have it? Why was she holding it for you?
She was just holding it for me because I told her to hold it for me. But it didn't have anything to do with, this was weeks ago. She had been holding the money. And because I had no contact with her, I couldn't tell her. And my mom wasn't going to let her come to the house to bring it.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, look, man, if I'm going to be out there, I'll meet up with you and get the money, but I'm not hanging out with you. I'm not having sex with you. And she was just like, oh, you want to kill? I'm like, I'm not finna do none of that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to be around you. I get that. I understand that. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm not supposed to be around you. I love you to death, man. You're my baby mama. I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't supposed to be like a hangout thing. I told her, like, I'm out here. And she's like, oh, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? And I'm like, look, I'll meet up with you to get the money and, you know, give you a hug or whatever. But she was like, well, I need something. I'm like, no, we can't do all that. I'm not going to have sex with you. I'm not going to hang out with you or none of that.
All right. So you told her you weren't going to do any of that stuff.
No.
How did you set the meeting up? Did you talk to her on the phone, Facebook Messenger, text message? Because
I talked to her.
I don't think she said anything about that. So just, I mean, if she's BS, how did you?
Yeah, because I didn't. This is what she does.
Hold on one second. Hold on, one thing at a time. How did you set the meeting with her? How do I verify?
That's what I'm saying. If she can't get in touch with me, that's what she'll do. She'll go to social medias and do all this and try to talk to people and all this and that. I got in contact with her through a mutual friend that we both know. And I was like, okay, tell her I'm out in Waukesha or whatever, and I'll meet up with her to get the money. And then she put us on the call. And she was just like, where you at?
Three-way call?
Yeah. And she was just like, where you at? I'm like, look, I don't know where I'm at. Do you still got that money? She's like, yeah, I want to give you the money and I want to do this and do that. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna hang out with you. I'm gonna meet up with you, get the money, give you a hug and kiss. We'll talk later.
Was it still daylight?
It was still daylight. Daylight.
So
after that,
This was, I think the game was still on.
game was on. So
The game was still on.
left Stephanie's to go.
Yep. The game was still on. So I was like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I want to see you. I ain't seen you in like a month. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to lie and say, man, that's my baby mama. I love this woman. But I can't hang out with you. I can't do anything with you, you know, that type of thing, deal, and whatever the case may be. But, yeah, that.
And this is on your cell phone? The three-way call, obviously, it's your cell phone because you're not on the phone, right?
My friend's phone.
Friend's phone.
Yeah.
But yesterday, so do you have your phone?
No. That's what I'm saying. No.
So who is the friend whose phone you were using to talk to her on a three-way call?
I don't want to say his name because I don't want to.
Okay, I guess. So you saw her, though, right? You met up with her. Okay. So how did the conversation with her end?
With me walking off and her being pissed off that I didn't want to hang out with her. I said, look, I'm not supposed to be around you. I'm gone.
Okay.
When she said,
car did you use to get out
she
there?
said I didn't have a car.
No, whose car did you use to get to Waukesha?
My friend is the one that said he was gonna go hang out and watch the Packer game. I said I'm gonna go with.
Okay. Whose car did you use to get out to Waukesha?
I didn't use anybody's car.
Where does your friend live?
My friend lives in Milwaukee.
So you didn't walk to Waukesha. Whose car did you guys use?
My friend. I just said my
What
friend.
type of car did you have? I'm just trying to figure out how you got here.
Yeah, I know, but it seemed like you trying to like spin me up or something. Like
I'm just asking how you got here. Whose car did you drive out here?
I didn't drive at all.
Whose car did you come out here in?
My friend.
Okay, right. What kind of car is it? So here's the thing, Darrell.
Okay.
Obviously, you know, she's coming at us. I told you she's talking about some domestic related issues, okay? You know, and I don't know if she's on BS. I don't know if she's not.
I'm telling you.
Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. I don't want you to get...
Yeah, because
Hold on, let me finish. You know, I don't entirely know all that, okay? I'm just right now trying to figure out how you got out here. So I got to step out with my partner for a minute. Just relax. I don't want you to get you all nervous, okay? But, you know, I'm not trying to be confrontational, but I don't think when you meet her out in Waukesha, and you're not from Waukesha, I think a reasonable question is to ask, how did you get out here?
Yeah.
Whether you drove, someone else drove, and if so, when you got out here, what type of car you were in. So just every hour or so, my boss, he knows we're out here. I just got to call him and say, yeah, we're talking. I'll call you back later. Just got to step out, throw in a line with him, and we'll come back. Just chill out here, enjoy your soda. We'll be right back. All right? Sound good? Okay.
So we done talking or?
No,
No,
come
come back and
Just
talk to
chill
you.
out. We'll be back.
We just gotta make that call.
So I just got to make that call.
That check-in call.
All right?
In the middle of the conversation?
Well, do you want to tell me about the car?
We'll just go another couple minutes.
Yeah, but
I mean, I got to call him. I can come back, but I just...
listen, I'm willing to listen, Carpenter. You been straight up with me. You been straight up with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is I just want to know what I'm looking at and if I can just notify my girls. That's it. I don't have a problem with talking to you guys at all. I just want to know what am I looking at. That's
Well, at the start, she called about some domestic abuse-related stuff. Now, I didn't talk to her myself. I told you that at the start. You said she was crazy. We talked about
Y'all know that. Y'all talked to the woman.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I apologize. You talk.
Slow
Our
down.
officers that we listened to the interview.
Slow down, Darrell.
Did she look beat up? Did she look like, dude?
Darrell.
Like, come on now, man.
Slow down, dude. All right? We can't explain it to you if you keep talking over us. You know what I'm saying? All right? I didn't talk to her. I didn't see her. Okay? Now...
Okay, with regard to that clip, sir, we have a lot of talk about her, meaning her. Who is her?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
The her in this case is Erica Patterson.
Did you have some conversations with Mr. Brooks before this clip about his relationship with Miss Patterson?
Objection leading. I do consent to being called that name.
The objections are overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, I did.
Now, at the end of this video, not the end of the video, but the end of this clip, again, he is saying, what am I looking at? Do you recall him saying that in this video?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes, I do.
Was this a theme throughout this 5-hour video?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, it was.
Did he... You had stated initially when he came into the room, he had complained about some shoulder pain.
Yes, he did.
Did that continue throughout the interview?
Objection relevancy.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
So, I would say what happened is it went on and off. So at this point here, the interview at this point in time was what I would describe as laid back. A lot of it was simply getting background about the overall relationship between Mr. Brooks and Miss Patterson. During that time, he was fine. He was moving his arms, as you could see in this clip. He wasn't complaining about pain. What I noticed and made me question the legitimacy of the injury before ever actually even seeing the body cam is I noted at times of stress later in this interview as I continue to push on a vehicle, I can see, as you could see here, I believe it can be seen here in this interview, talking about the car made him uncomfortable. Complaints about the pain would suddenly come back.
How about the request to be told what he's looking at? Did you see any correlation between that and what was occurring during the interview?
Objection speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, that, as I say, that continued throughout the entirety of the interview, and really at this point was a little unusual because right now he had been told he was looking at the domestic. The parade hadn't come up, so a reasonable person, I believe, at this point of the interview knew what they were looking at. They were looking at a domestic abuse incident. Why simply asking him how he got out here as far as transportation made him nervous was alarming.
An example of him, you said that you had seen him using his arms a little bit in this clip. Is that correct?
Objection leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
you had stated that, what observations did you make during this clip about the use of his right arm?
He would move it from side to side, so, I mean, both his arms would come out like this and move. He would make mannerisms when he was speaking with both arms that were, to me, what a person would do when they're normally conversing. And it would seem unusual to make those movements if he was, in fact, in as much pain as he was claiming to us he was in.
Now I'm going to just let the record reflect that when you had indicated he'd move his arms this way, you moved both your right and left arm out parallel to the ground at about shoulder level. Would that be accurate?
Yes, it would.
I'm going to show you a clip beginning at 52 minutes and 15 seconds to 52 minutes and 42 seconds, so a very short clip.
Go ahead.
That, and then she makes this complaint when she gets you back.
Yeah, and it's like, why do you do this to me? And I promise you, that my right hand to God Almighty on the throne with Jesus next to his side, the woman is going to sit up there and say, I was drunk, I was mad, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, now I got to go through everything just for you to do that. Why did you do this to me?
She thinks she's going to come back to us.
So we saw some motions with his arms during this clip. Would that be an accurate statement?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Can you explain to the jury what you observed?
So I observed Mr. Brooks move his arms to his side, above his head, his right arm almost fully above his head at points, quite frankly showing that arm seemed to have full range of motion.
Now, you had testified yesterday, you had seen a video or a still shot from a video, and you identified the defendant driving a red SUV. Do you recall that testimony?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, I do.
And when the defendant was telling you about his friend bringing him out in a tan Kia, I think he said, did you believe that to be true?
Objection.
Sustained. It's for the jury to determine credibility. The witness will not answer that.
Did you ever see any video of the defendant driving in a tan Kia during the time of the parade?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled. The witness may answer that.
No, I did not.
Directing the video to 1 hour, 4 minutes, 30 seconds, and playing until 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 2 seconds.
Before we go to this clip, I know we have the witness, I've been told, and the interpreter available. So I would like to put further testimony and watching of these clips on hold. We do need to take a witness out of order in order to accommodate the interpreter that the court has arranged for. So, Detective Carpenter, you may be excused momentarily.
This is Detective Jay Carpenter, the City Waukesha Police Department. It's November. Okay. November 21st, 2021. We're at Waukesha Memorial Hospital, 725 American Avenue in the city of Waukesha. The current time is 22:56 hours. Be conducting interview with suspect Darrell, Darrell, E. Edward in the middle, Brooks, Brooks, Jr. He's a male, black, date of birth 2/21/82. Also present will be Detective Ben Stern of the City of Waukesha and 2 federal agents from the FBI. This will be conducted in the blood draw room at Waukesha Memorial Hospital, which has video surveillance recording connected as well.
There's a camera right there. The only dead spot's that chair. just so you know. We have no audio, but there is
Yeah.
a camera, and
Okay.
we dead spots that chair.
Switch it on.
I just, and if you do want it, just let us know, we'll save it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if you could,
And we're gonna put a sign on this door saying don't enter.
okay, thank you.
113, also 1823.
Let's go by Darrell or Darrell? Yeah. It's a good thing we have.
Yeah, see right here, Darrell.
I'll go grab you your water.
I'll tell you. Tight.
It's Darrell?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Darrell. I'm Jeremy Wojciechowski. I'm the FBI.
FBI.
Yeah. that's my partner.
FBI?
I'm Mary. Yep.
They're just kind of helping out because we're so short-staffed tonight. So
Thank you.
yeah, that's all it is.
How's your shoulder, right? Is that where
Yeah, well, he said in 4 to 6 weeks I might have to get it because it's still something's wrong. I know.
you bang it up before or something?
Nah, it was just the way they slammed me. I
Okay.
hit the ground. I kind of like went up. Boom, boom. That's where the knee
Oh, it's
came
your
from.
knee
But
as well. Okay.
yeah, but the shoulder, I know something's wrong.
Yeah.
He said 4 to 6 weeks, the MRI won't be able to tell if anything's torn or anything like that. So
Okay.
Okay.
FBI though,
We help out our local partners all the time. This is just something that we're here to help out
because
with.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, believe it or not, we work at NPD a lot. We come down here, so we're kind of all over the place. But yeah, like
I've
Detective
never
Carpenter
like
said, we're
y'all
you know,
for real. The FBI for real.
That's
Yeah.
what this says, at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not trying to be funny, but this is the first time I've ever even seen an FBI agent in real life.
Most we get that reaction from most.
No, because it's like,
Yeah.
am I in a movie right now? Y'all sure
Don't-
y'all not punking or pranking me or something?
let,
you don't need to let that
yeah.
freak you out or anything.
Right.
And again, we
Yeah.
do work. So we work on a task force with MPD quite a bit. So
I'm
we
gonna
are out with.
put my arm like this just to stretch it out. Just to,
Yep.
I don't want you to think I'm doing nothing crazy.
You good?
Just
You good?
it leaves some pressure. Something
good.
right up in.
No, you're good. Yeah, like she was saying, don't let the, don't let them don't let them make you nervous. Okay. You'll be talking to me mostly and my partner a bit. No, they'll ask you a little too, but just trying to get to the bottom of everything. Look, you were found basically running around in the yard. You said you grabbed dude's phone. That's
No, I
really-
didn't grab it.
I
actually.
don't mean you stole it. You
Oh, yeah,
asked
yeah,
for
yeah.
it and you made a call. And that's just kind of what I'm up here to start with and get the background about it. If you're willing to tell me just what you were doing in the yard, because obviously we have the perception we got, like I told you. They said, okay, they let us write this warrant, get some of your blood. But I have one side. So what am I missing? I'm missing Darrell's side, right? I don't know what created all this, why these people are calling us. And I can't really clear that up, or I'd like to clear that up, but best way to clear it up is if, you're willing to talk to me about it, okay? And that's just kind of what I'm here to sit down and chill with you about. We've been talking to you, about 4 hours now? And we've
Probably
been pretty,
longer.
Yeah, we've been pretty cool. It's been
Probably
pretty laid
longer.
back, so I'm looking to keep it that way. I'm not looking to pull any fast ones on you. That's why I've been straight with you to that point. I'm going to keep doing that now, right? Darrell, is it Darrell? Do I have the spelling right?
Yes, sir.
And it's E. Edward, like full middle is Edward, right?
Yes, sir.
Brooks, Brooks.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And just verify your date of birth then for me.
2/21/82.
82. So you're 39?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Married at all?
No.
No?
As little as I am, I'm like, you ain't have to slam me.
Yeah. How many kids you got?
3.
3? How old are they?
18, 14, and 7.
18, 14, and 7. Yeah. What do they like to do?
My baby girls, they into everything that's going on right now. The TikTok, the
Always on the
Instagram.
phone, right?
They always dance and making video. My oldest daughter just started high school.
Yeah.
And my baby girl she just started the first grade. So
So
So they could all
My
like,
son is the oldest. My girls are the youngest.
so they could like build a computer, but can't normally talk like we know how to, right? So you're born in Milwaukee?
Actually, Detroit.
Detroit.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Living in Milwaukee now?
Yes, sir. Grew up here. We left Detroit when I was maybe, I don't even think I was walking and talking yet. So,
Okay.
Milwaukee's home, Wisconsin's home, born and raised.
Okay. Not working right now, right?
No, not at the moment. No.
What do you do when you're working? What do you like consider your job?
The last job I just had, I was working at a sheet metal place.
Okay.
You know, basically just they would have like these like hook things, like you just basically, it's strenuous because you got to do a lot of lifting, and it's a lot of heavy lifting, but you basically just hanging these pieces on these hooks, and they're going through the thing, they're steaming them, painting them, then they come back around, and then you just box them up and load them.
So you're not married?
No.
You have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
You live with her?
No.
What's her name, your girlfriend's name?
Her name is Erica Patterson.
How does she spell it?
Erika.
P-A...
Yeah, Patterson.
Okay, and it's 4014 North 19th Street in Milwaukee. Do I have the right address?
Yes, sir.
Is that an apartment or a house?
It's a house.
Okay. What's the zip code there?
53209.
Okay. And last grade you completed in school?
12th
grade? 12th grade. Graduated high school?
Yes, sir.
What school did you go to in Milwaukee?
Riverside.
Riverside?
Yes, sir. Milwaukee Riverside Tigers. I see you smile. You know about Riverside, man?
I heard things.
We kicked y'all butt in football.
It was West Dallas.
Oh, no.
I don't think we played Riverside.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I appreciate all the cooperation and all the good dialogue we've had, to this point, Darrell. Being that you're sitting here and, I had some handcuffs on you before and all that jazz.
Absolutely.
You familiar with your legal rights?
Yes,
Have you ever had those read to you before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So as you can see, they're written on this paper. So because, if I was sitting here and talking to you on your couch, we wouldn't have to worry about this. But because you're here, not in your home, it's kind of a thing I got to read to you, okay? And again, it's just something I got to read to you before I kind of get your side, or hopefully get your side here, and love to hear your side. I'd like to know what Darrell has to say about, okay, we got some people calling us saying this, he said you made utterance before. No, I wasn't driving. Someone thought you might have been. He had to get that warrant. He ended up calling a guy just to use his phone, kind of loitering around, and just, how you ended up kind of being there. That's what they say.
No, I was going to say, I knocked on his door to use his phone.
Yep.
Definitely.
Right, but it probably wasn't him that called because he got his phone, but someone was concerned about something. So just trying to figure out what's going on down in that neighborhood. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Darrell.
He kind of, like I said, that wasn't probably the best, but I was just like, I need to get an Uber. Yep. I have money on my Cash App card.
Yep.
So I'm not trying to rob anybody.
Sure.
I'm not trying to break it and obviously you can tell I'm not drunk. I'm not, under the influence of anything. So.
Okay. All right.
That's basically what it was.
Okay. All right. In regards to these, Darrell, then, do you understand that you have the right to remain silent? Just answer everything with a yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then I just write down your reply. You understand if you give up that right, anything you say may be used against you in court?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand you have the right to consult with an attorney and have an attorney present during any questioning?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you by the court?
Yes, sir.
Understanding the above rights, Darrell, are you willing to speak with me, us, primarily me? I'm the one that's going to be doing most of the talking probably.
I just want to know a little bit more about what's going on. Just a little bit, because
like I told you, I know very little. I just know that, you were down in this neighborhood, someone called, they didn't know what you were doing down there and things like that. So I got limited from their side, but I'm looking to see, what you have to say about it. I'm looking to see, maybe the caller was just on some BS down there. I don't know. I don't know. But I can't really show the court that if I don't have, if I haven't talked to you. So that's why I'm here, just to kind of see what you got to say about it. Get your side of it. You know, running around a neighborhood's not the end of the world. It's not a huge deal.
Right.
You know?
Right. Unfortunately, I wouldn't have had to do that if I made better decisions with women.
Yeah.
But not gonna point the finger.
Sure.
I'm a grown man. I make my own decisions, so I'm not gonna point the finger at nobody. I just didn't think.
Didn't think, yeah.
What the hell?
You willing to speak with me, Darrell?
Not right now.
Not right now?
Yeah, I'm kind of. I'm still kind of confused about what the hell. Am I even being like? What am I even being detained for? Like.
Well, I've kind of explained some of that to
Yeah,
you.
you did.
Okay. And there was you running around the neighborhood. All right. And there was another incident that happened either. I don't know what you know about or we were hoping you could talk to us about. But part of it understand is that I'm not going to just tell you everything.
Okay, I was just finna say
You know
that.
what I mean?
Wait a minute.
Because part of it is information sharing too. So I kind of wanted to know what you knew about this neighborhood and things from that. And then
Well,
we
I
can go
don't.
from there.
To be honest, I'm not. From Waukesha. I'm not from Waukesha. I obviously have a paternity test there with my son's mama, but she was from New Berlin, so I don't really know too much about Waukesha and Waukesha County. I do have friends that stay in Waukesha. I do have people that I hang out with, watch the game, play cards with, eat barbecue, normal things like that. As far as knowing about the city, I don't. So I don't even know if the neighborhood I was in is a nice neighborhood, a shady neighborhood, or what people think somebody would be. I have no idea.
Sure.
To people that grew up in Milwaukee, maybe it's a cliche, but everything kind of looks a little bit safer outside of Milwaukee when you're in a different city. So it kind of always look like, okay, ain't nothing to too much worry about it as long as I'm not mugging somebody or, you know what I'm saying, trying to rape somebody or something like that.
Yep.
You pretty much think, okay, it's cool. You don't even really too much try to really like let me see what street this is or let me,
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of one of those deals. I kind of just ended up over there.
You set it up out here?
No, not out here, but where they
you were.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I said, I got friends that live out here, so I've been out here a time or two. It's not a place I really hang out a lot.
All right.
So.
All right, Darrell, I'm going to step out a minute. In here with my partner, and give me a minute. I'm going to come back and talk to you, okay?
Yeah. Well, I'm saying,
Yeah, just give us one
I
second.
just wanted to know just a little bit more about what was going on before I just like, yeah, listen, I'm just the FBI.
Yeah.
What the hell?
They come out and they help out when we get swamped with stuff. I told you it was a real busy
Yeah,
day.
what kind of shit is going on, man? I know you think. Well, come on, man.
I can't make you today. Not gonna make you see anything, but you know.
I got two little girls at home.
Yeah.
At least. What am I in? Am I in some serious shit?
No, that's what we're talking about is the whole neighborhood thing.
That's why I'm not telling you to
that
go
person
against
could
your
be-
job
Right.
or do anything that you're not supposed to do. I'm just saying is the shit I'm looking at is serious because I at least want to.
That's on my part. So remember when I was saying we're waiting on bosses to communicate? They're communicating with him, not with me. That's why he's sitting down talking to you. So he can explain that stuff a little bit further when he comes back. So
I'm just thinking about my girls, man. My shoulder is just one thing, but My son, like I said, my son grown. I don't worry too much about him, but those girls I worry about. Especially in the time that we in.
Yeah.
You know? So that's the only reason why I was just saying, like, yo, man, whatever y'all can tell me, information wise, just please just let me, at least just for that my piece of head to be mine, to be able to be like, yo.
No, I follow what you're saying. And I know you want that peace of mind. But
yeah, but then he just said something else. First he said it went from I was loitering to y'all needed my blood for OWI to now it's something else going on that he can't tell me. And I'm like, it doesn't seem like people are being honest with me now at this point. And that's why I'm like, why should I talk to you if you're not going to be honest with me? I've been nothing but honest.
Yeah.
I didn't come in there drunk, whacked out, high out of my mind, giving y'all shit, beating on stuff, kicking on stuff, cussing y'all out, spitting,
no, you're right.
blaming y'all for, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, at least just give me.
Right. You know, like we talked about, it was about, you know, asking people to use the phone. People found that suspicious. And somebody saying that they thought you were drinking and driving. And that's what he's looking. That's what he's looking for answers for.
That's the thing. How would I be drinking and driving, standing on a porch? I can't drive a porch. Like how? I wasn't taken out of a vehicle. I wasn't found in a vehicle. I wasn't found next to a vehicle. How can I have an OWI? For what? Because I smoke weed? Because I smell like weed? Like, you understand what I'm trying to say? I was confused.
I understand your perspective. For
yeah,
sure.
I'm like, yo, y'all didn't take me. I can't drive somebody's house. And they talked to the guy. We stayed there long enough for them to talk to the guy. And I know the guy told them, hey man, dude knocked on my door and asked could he use my phone. I called my people and said, yo, I need an Uber. So if I had a ride, why would I be calling an Uber? Why would I be spending my money to go back to Milwaukee if I had OWI to commit? Do that seem like somebody that's committing an OWI that's calling for an Uber? That's why I'm like, y'all snatched me out of the man's porch. That's not a vehicle. It's not a car. How did it, like, why am I a suspected of an OWI when I wasn't detained in or around a vehicle? That just blew my mind. Like, when I looked at the paper, said OWI, I'm like, I'm not.
No, I get it from your perspective. If I was looking at it from your perspective, I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the hell? Like, how? That's almost like saying I'm sitting in this chair, but I'm suspected of hiding in the garbage. Doesn't make sense. Y'all find me here, but I'm suspected of doing that. Well,
no, like I said, from your perspective, I totally understand the logic there. I'm a soldier. I do what I'm told. You know what I mean?
Man, I'm confused, man. Because I'm like, what do I even tell? Like, what do I tell my kid? What do I tell my family? Like, what am I supposed to? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just detained right now. Nobody can tell me anything. And it's like, well, why can't they? And it's like, I don't know. Like, what the hell?
I'm as frustrated as you are. I wish I had more information, but bosses.
And then the FBI, like, is this some normal shit or is this some just shit because of me?
No, this is some. So, like I said, we had an incredibly busy day today at the hospital, swamps and stuff like that. So FBI coming in and helping us is just because of the amount of, we don't have other detectives available.
Yeah.
We don't have other officers available. It's a very busy night. It's a Sunday night. So,
wow.
No, that's normal for them to come in and sit in.
See, that's never happened to me. Like, you know, FBI, that's some, you robbed a bank or, you know what I'm saying? You did some federal
bank, right? So
I'm just saying, you know, usually when, you know, it's heavy drug trafficking charges or bank robbery or something to do with the government, you know, a major scam, fraud or something, then, you know, the FBI, yeah, we you know, but because I was using somebody's phone.
Like I said, they're here because they're kind of backfilling because we only have so many people available. So.
Man, I'm like, I don't, wow.
Yeah, again, looking at it from your perspective.
Wow,
like,
man.
You know, what is
and then it's like,
here?
and then it's crazy because it's like, even with this situation, you can't even talk to anyone. You can't even say, hey man, look, this is what's going on, this is where I'm at, I don't know too much, or, you know what I'm saying? Hey, y'all, you know, hey, let your little sister know, you know what I'm saying? It's frustrating for me, not only just getting roughed up, and like I said, maybe I shouldn't have been, you know, I didn't look at it like, you know, this is a shady neighborhood or a nice, I don't know the difference, but I don't know. You know, I don't hang out in Waukesha a lot to know, oh, this area is this, or this area is that, or these kind of people are in this area, or these kind of people, or watch out when you do. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I was just trying to get home. That's it. That's it.
Step out for a minute. You're fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
no.
I'm like, what?
Got it? All right, really quick.
Hi, Darrell. I'm here to talk to you real quick. You want to just step in here for me?
Yes, you do.
Yep.
Yeah, how you?
I'm all right. How you holding up? I was asking how you're holding up. Oh,
man, I finally found out everything I was here for, and I cried for like an hour straight. I had to get a new mask. My heart dropped. I'm not in good shape.
Oh, I am so sorry to hear that.
I'm not in good shape.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Let me just cut right to the point because I know you got stuff going on today.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, I heard that you had to go to the hospital, get checked out for some injuries?
Yes.
Okay. So, and you said it was from the police?
Yes.
Roughing you up? Okay.
Yes.
So, I don't know what you're used to, but in Waukesha, we take that very seriously, that claim very seriously. And I want to investigate and look into those officers that did that to you. I don't think that that's right, if that's what happened, and I want to be able to kind of go through and see what's going on with those cops and what might have happened.
Even the detectives said too when they came up, they was wondering why they had their knee all on my, because the only arm that was free was this one.
Okay.
And I kept telling them, I was like this, I said, my ID's in my back pocket, I'm just gonna give you my ID so you know who I am. And when who the guy was, when he grabbed this arm, he yanked me so hard, I felt my shoulder pop.
Oh.
I actually heard it pop.
Oh.
And then he slammed me, boom. My shoulder hit, this side of my face hit, and then my knee was like, my leg was kind of up like this, and then this hit, boom. That's how I got all these scars.
Oh, wow, okay.
And they had to x-ray this knee, because this knee was scraped up, and right here, they was concerned that something might have been broken here because they said this bone was sticking out further than the other knee, so they wanted to x-ray the knee.
Okay.
They said my shoulder is definitely gonna need surgery. They did the x-ray and they said they would have to do an MRI to tell what's in there, but they can tell because it's a dent. It's actually a dent. I don't know if you can see it right here. You see that?
Yeah, a little bit.
If I
Yeah.
turn like this,
Yeah, a little bit. Yep.
They said something in there is torn, but they won't be able to know unless they did an MRI. And obviously, they didn't have time to do. I don't know.
Okay. Well, some of the medical treatment is stuff that they're in ER and they can only do so much, and then some of that stuff is going to have to be followed. Yeah. So I guess that's why I'm here, is I want to kind of look into that a little further. But in order to substantiate, I hear what you're telling me with the injuries, and I believe you. But I have to have proof of that too, so I want to see if I can get the medical records from the hospital to show those injuries that you've got. So what I have here, I can go through it with you quickly, is just an express consent for release of medical information. It's got your name, date of birth on here, your address, and just standard, I check all the boxes because we don't know exactly what they have. The medical field can sometimes withhold stuff from us unless we check all the boxes to make sure. So if I go through and I get something and only gives me limited information, I got to come back again. So just to avoid all that, I check all these boxes just to get all the necessary information that I need. And then I need the signature right here for you. And if you're willing to do that, I can get you a pen and we can get you signed that, and then I can get on my way and start looking into this a little more. Okay? Do you have any questions at all?
Not about this, but were my phones kept for evidence?
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. Right now they're being kept for evidence, and then you'll get them back when we're done with them.
They would bring them over to my property?
If you're still here, yep, they'll bring it in.
Okay. No, I was just concerned because, my kids' numbers are in there.
Yeah,
I got one kid that's grown, so.
We're not trying to keep that stuff from you.
I know
you know
that.
What I mean?
I was just wondering, because I'm like, I don't want, I know they were saying something about, they had to like open them up or something, or.
Yeah, it's called a forensic download. So they're basically just going to grab the content from it, but it's way above I don't deal with the technology stuff very well.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
All right, so what I need from you is a signature right here. You're the patient signature. And then I can give you the date. Is the 23rd. Are you able to?
Well, it's kind of.
I know it's limited. Do the best that you can. Signature right here on that line, and then I'll sign as a witness after.
They had to X-ray this too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said you see these kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said none of the bones were broken, but the shoulder they're concerned about because they can't see.
Sure. The date is the 23rd, 11/23rd.
I kind of, when I do my signature, I take this.
And the time right now, you can put 12:35 p.m.
Yeah, I was like, who were those guys? What were their names? Like.
Yeah, I know who they are, so I'm gonna figure it out. Some of them weren't with our department either, so that's why, at our department, we don't do that stuff, and if we do, we look into it. And so, there was another department, so that's why I want to look into it more.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yep.
Oh.
So that's why I want to look into it and make sure that, we don't tolerate that at all.
I was kind of surprised. I was just like, damn.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I said, I don't want that to happen to you or anybody. It doesn't matter what's going on, right?
Yesterday, they wouldn't give me any Tylenol for it at first. It didn't even help when they did give it to me. It's like a burning sensation that just keeps doing this. Keeps doing this.
Are you gonna be able to get some follow up in here?
I know I've been asking them for something for the pain ever since last night. I haven't even seen a nurse yet. I told them, I said, I can't. First of all, I'm sickle cell anemia, so I'm cold. I can't sleep, and then I can't I can't get comfortable because everywhere I turn, my shoulder throbs, and it's like a burning sensation that is just, if I try to lift my arm too high, it hurts. If I turn it in a certain way, it hurts. If I lay on it, it hurts.
Sure.
They said something was definitely wrong. They just couldn't tell from the X-ray because the X-ray didn't show any broken bones.
Okay.
but they said something.
I'm glad at least there's no broken bones, right?
Yeah, but they definitely told
But if
me.
there's something else going on, I want to know about it, and
I
I'll look
won't
into
know
it. Okay.
because obviously they couldn't do an MRI, so I don't even know what's wrong with it. But they said, yeah, something is definitely wrong. Because they like, you shouldn't have a dent right there. They don't know if it's, like I said, when he pulled it and it popped, did he tear a muscle? Did he, they don't know. They just like, you're gonna definitely have to get this looked at. We don't know how soon if or when you'll be getting out or whatever the case to follow up, but you definitely need to get an MRI because something is definitely wrong with that.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that the nursing staff here, but now that I have access to medical records and things like that for this, I'll be able to know the further treatments that you get as well, and we'll be able to look into that and make sure. Okay.
See this too?
Yeah. What's going on with?
It was all from the slam.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I told them about. They didn't even do the X-ray on. I think they did like sort of around my wrist right here.
Okay.
They didn't do. I was telling them like my fingers. I don't. Something looks. This you can tell something's wrong.
Yeah,
with that.
something's going on there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna look into that. Okay. Do you have any questions for me at all?
I just wanted.
I'll keep you updated. Okay.
Yeah, this isn't right, man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and we don't tolerate that shit. Okay. So I'm gonna do what I can to see what's going on. All right.
I definitely appreciate you because I didn't even think. I just thought it was just gonna be like, okay, that happens. So what,
No, not so what.
And I'm just like, so like, how can these people? I mean, I understand, it was, graphic things, or now I know, but I was just trying to gauge, like, if I'm not showing, I'm telling you guys, like, yo, I don't have any weapons. I'm trying to get my ID to show you who I am, and you still, I was just like, man, this is bullshit.
Yeah, I get it. We don't tolerate that. I'm gonna look into it. Okay, we'll figure out what's going on. All right.
What's your name?
My name is Jessica. Okay.
I appreciate you coming in.
All right.
I just thought I was just gonna have to just be like, well.
No, that doesn't sound fair, does it?
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay. All right. We'll take care of Darrell, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Oh,
You're welcome.
one more question.
Sure.
After everything's over with, will my mom be able to get the truck back or get at least everything that's in the truck out of it?
Yeah, so we have some legal obligations of how, when we can release it versus how long we have to hang on to it and things like that. Once those legal obligations are met, your mom can get the vehicle back.
I don't even think she gonna want the vehicle. She just probably gonna want, because like the title and stuff is in there.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Certain paperwork that goes to the truck, the keys.
Yep. Yeah, we can definitely arrange for that.
Stuff like that. I know she's gonna want basically just really the contents of everything that's in there.
That makes sense. We can arrange for that when the time comes, okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for speaking with me.